Okay, so welcome back, Elaine, to the Zoom room for another live Ask for Letting Go session. So let's jump into our teaching. So I'll share my screen. We'll have a look at today's quote and email. That will lead us nicely into today's lesson. So let me know when you can see screen. Okay. Yeah. So if you can read that headline quote.
Yeah.
I look.
Yeah.
So if you can, read the quote, Elaine, that would be great.
Yeah. I love you not only for what you are, but for what I am when I am with you. I love you not only for what you have made of yourself, but for what you are making of me. I love you for the part of me that you bring out.
Elizabeth Barrett Browning, English poet, very famous, and she had quite a famous relationship with a guy called Robert Browning, who was also a poet, and it wasn't, I think, if I'm familiar with the story, it wasn't something that her parents certainly were keen on. They resisted it, but they seemed to have a real not just a special relationship, but a holy one, where they sort of deeply connected. And obviously they were both poets, so they kind of shared this holy love. So that's what she's referring to. This is obviously of her experience. She was maybe talking about Robert Browning. I love you not only for what you are, but for what I am when I am with you. Right. So the person brings out the best in you. In other words, I love you not only for what you've made of yourself, but for what you're making of me. I love you for the parts of me that you bring out. So really what she's talking about is a holy relationship, isn't she? The deeper self that can be activated and encouraged and brought out by someone else. And those are the people, obviously, who inspire us, who you actually want to be in a relationship with and hanging around with, because they help you to, they remind you of who you are.
Yeah.
So the quote expresses the key meaning of such a holy relationship, which is one of the central themes in A Course in Miracles, just to connect both people in the relationship with the essence of who they really are, and live in a state of peaceful, joyful flow with each other and life as a result. You accept this is true, that this is the true purpose of relationship, then you must also accept that letting go of the thoughts and feelings towards anyone with whom you are in what Yeshua calls a special relationship. And those, if it's special, are typically guilt, fear, resentment, and anger. Dropping those, letting those go, it must be the way to free yourself from these pretty awful ego thoughts and emotions, and find yourself and your flow again. So the only real purpose of the special relationship, previously dedicated to affirming the reality of the identity of two separate selves, because that's all it's for, is to help the two people to let go of their false belief in being a separate self and identify only with who they really are, which is love itself. This is why all forgiveness in ACIM language is really forgiving yourself, which restated in an alternative Ask for Letting Go language means that when you forgive anyone or anything, You are letting go of your own negative thoughts and emotions about them, and opening your mind to the pure formless awareness of perfect love that lies beyond these blocks, to the awareness of love's presence. The truth is really very simple, but it's obscured by the complexity of your ego's distorted thoughts and emotions that are designed to deny it. So again, just contemplate today's quote. Give yourself opportunity to experience an aha moment, or in Course in Miracles terms, a holy instant, where you break through the ego's dark fog into the light of truth and the experience of peace and joy that truth always brings. That lies beyond the illusion of your dark or limited awareness. So we'll do that now. Just close your eyes. I'll read the quote to you. Take a nice deep breath in. And listen to these words and apply that to someone in your life if you can. So actually address it in the first person to this person in your life, typically your primary spiritual relationship. That's always a good one, but any relationship will do. So breathe in and say to this person in your mind, I love you not only for what you are, but for what I am when I am with you. I love you not only for what you've made of yourself, but for what you are making of me. I love you for the parts of me that you bring out. And so feel into that part of you that this person brings out. And even if you've had conflict with them, there's apparently some negativity, they still offer you this opportunity because you can forgive them. In other words, you can let go of your own negative thoughts and emotions about them, which then help you to become this better self. This is what Barrett Brown is referring to. So just exhale if you haven't yet, and just blow out the breeze of your breath. Any dark, negative, contracted thoughts and emotions. Going, gone. Rest here for a few moments. Notice how you're feeling. What state are you in compared with a couple of minutes ago? You're feeling more connected to this person, more loving, more expanded. Just notice thoughts and emotions, related body sensations going on. And anchor that state in. It's a pleasant state, and you're feeling connected to the source, and just anchor the state in, set the intention to stay here for the rest of the session, and then when you're ready, gently open your eyes. So, yeah, any thoughts on that? Anything come to you?
That's very true, I guess, isn't it? But it's very comforting, yes. Yeah, I did it for Dave there, that message. So yeah, got a very comforting message.
Because everyone, irrespective of how they behave, they still offer you this opportunity.
Oh,
Even if there's difficulty, you can use the relationship to bring out your true self and become aware of that.
Oh yes, yeah.
Was that choice, irrespective of the way they behave.
Yeah.
If someone is very inspiring and encouraging and helpful, then it's easier. I think Elizabeth Barrett Browning had that with Robert Browning. He was a genuinely spiritual and kind guy.
Yeah.
She found that he brought out the best in her and expanded her horizons and so on.
So are they still together? Are they still together?
Oh, they died long ago.
Oh.
They
Okay.
lived in the was it 18th, 19th century?
Oh, I see.
19th century. Yeah. It's quite a famous English poet, Elizabeth Barrett. In fact,
I don't think I've heard of her. Yeah.
There you go. Click on.
She's a
click
famous
on
poet.
that. I always put, if you want to know, I put the links in so you can go and have a look.
Okay then. Yeah. Oh, 1806. Oh well, yeah. Yeah.
So long gone. Victorian era.
Yeah.
Of Britain, United States, and then talks about
She was only in her 50s when she passed.
Exactly, admiration of the writers. He was a writer, Robert Browning. Their correspondence, courtship, and marriage were carried out in secret for fear of her father's disapproval. Following the wedding, she was indeed disinherited by her father. He obviously decided he wasn't suitable for whatever reason. The 1846 couple moved to Italy, where she lived for the rest of her life.
She had 12 children. 12
Seriously?
children.
12 children.
If you look at the top there, if you bring it back, I'm sure I saw, unless she's from 12 children, is she? Maybe she's
the eldest of 12 children. Well,
yes,
they didn't they're having 12 kids. That's just,
I know.
County Durham. She's from Durham.
That's my neck of the woods. That's my area.
Is it? Okay. Oh, well, there you go. So she's one of your famous poets.
Right.
Yeah. So let's read more about the relationship, because that's the most interesting.
So was it forbidden sort of relationship by a parent?
Seems to be. Yeah. Her father wasn't keen on Robert Browning for whatever reason. Which is always interesting. Our parents, I think, they have the right to choose, and it's just like crazy, isn't it? It doesn't happen so much anymore. But who are you to say who your daughter should marry or not? I mean, it's just,
well, yeah.
Especially, he sounded like a decent chap. Inspired, right? He was. He was a writer.
Yeah. Very strange.
So Kenyon arranged for Browning to meet Elizabeth in her room, so began one of the most famous courtships in literature. Elizabeth produced a large amount of work, but Browning had a great influence on her subsequent writing, as did she on his. Two of Barrett's most famous pieces were written after she met Browning: Sonnets from the Portuguese and Aurora Leigh. Robert's Men and Women is also a product of that time. Some critics state their activity was in some ways in decay before she met Browning, till her relationship with Robert Browning began in 1845. Barrett's willingness to engage in public discourse about social issues, about aesthetic issues and poetry, which had been so strong in her youth, gradually diminished, as did her physical health. It's an intellectual presence and a physical being. She was becoming a shadow of herself. Okay, so interesting. So it obviously reignited her inner fire. Courtship and marriage were made secretly, as she knew her father would disapprove. Private marriage, the honeymoon in Paris, then moved to Italy, which became their home almost continuously until her death.
She disinherited.
As did each of his children who married. Wow. So they all just disinherited it. So there's the ego for you.
Right. Oh, there was an
March
angry man.
anticipated her brother's rejection. Elizabeth had some money of her own. The couple were reasonably comfortable in Italy. Brownies were well respected, even famous. Elizabeth grew stronger between the age of 43, between 4 miscarriages. Wow. She gave birth to a son, whom they called Penn. The son later married, but had no legitimate children. So it sounds like, it was exactly what she needed. It was a flourishing of a meeting of minds, holy
Right.
relationship.
Right.
Um,
And this ignited her.
Yeah, her literary reputation far surpassed that of her poet husband. When visitors came to their home in Florence, she was invariably the greater attraction. So she was more famous. The couple came to know a wide circle of artists and writers, including William Makepeace Thackeray, Harriet Beecher Stowe. She was a U.S. American author and abolitionist. So just quite interesting to look back in history. French novelist George Sand, Margaret Fuller, Carlyle, met Alfred Lord Tennyson in Paris, John Foster, Samuel Rogers, Charles Kingsley. So they were quite connected, and it seemed like it was a holy relationship. Maybe they brought the best out.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because then the ego wanted to stop it. So, why, if your father would you want to stop? Something
as lovely as that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, but that's the ego for you.
Yeah.
And then her whole family, turned against her. Like sounds like that's the duality of people's lives. And you look in history and you go, well, okay, so they had their challenges, but also their lessons. There were some no doubt very profound lessons that they both learned through that relationship. So yeah, so that's a little bit of history, and
interesting.
So I always put the links in if you're interested too.
Yeah, I'll have a little read of that. Yeah, I do like biographies.
Okay, so that leads us nicely into our quote for today, which is lesson for today, which is lesson 229. If you want to just read that in the original and alternative, and then we'll go into the actual lesson itself.
Love which created me is what I am. Or love which extends me is what I am.
Yeah, love which extends me is what I am, which is a lovely idea. It's actually one of the key ideas in the course that just gets repeated over and over. God created me like himself. There's a number of versions of it. I'm as God created me. It's very, very similar phraseology. So here's another one of probably this lesson's repeated 10 times in various forms in the workbook. Okay, so you read the first paragraph for us, please.
I seek my own identity and find it in these words. Love which extends me is what I am. Now I need to seek no more. Love has prevailed, so still it waited for my coming home, that I will no longer turn away from being wholly aware of my true identity. And what I perceive attests to the truth of the identity I sought to lose, but which my source has kept safe for me.
Thoughts on that?
Just seeking our own identity through love, because that's what we are. So we don't need to, we can see it now and no need to seek. It's there in this holy moment. this wholly aware moment.
This is one of the key teachings of the perennial philosophy, is that it's always already there. It's always been there. It's still there, and this is just stating the case. Love which extends me is what I am. The reason why I translated it, created to extends, is it makes it present, doesn't it? The problem with created is like, okay, well, once upon a time I came into being, I was created, which is a misperception. It's not the case. You weren't ever created, in the sense that you didn't exist and now you do. You've always existed. Creation is eternal. So using past tense with a verb that is really meant to point to the eternal doesn't really gel in my books anyway. So hence, we change it. I think actually Sally suggested changing.
Yeah.
As we read last year, she was like, well, why not extends? I'm like, yeah, why not? Because it extends you right now. It's not something that happened and then, that's it, over. There is no past to it. It's a present. It's a present fact and experience. It's designed to take you into the experience of, yes, I'm extended by God, by love right now. Perfect love extends me right now, and I feel that extension in my being, in my essence. When we do come into our true nature, our essence, then that is confirmed. We feel it. Love has prevailed, he says. So still it waited for my coming home. I will no longer turn away. I'm being wholly aware of my true identity. So the original is, I will no longer turn away from the holy face of Christ. So that translates as, I'm being wholly aware of my true identity. That's the holy face of Christ, my true identity. So I won't turn away from that. I won't turn away from, from my true identity. So still it waited for my coming home. I will no longer turn away. Does it make sense? So still it waited for my coming home. It's the original. Still wait for my coming home. And I will no longer turn away. I think we get the idea, but I'm not sure about the grammar there. So still it waited that I will no longer. Still it waited. So still it.
Seems.
So still it waits.
Forward, yeah.
So still it waits for my coming home. So
yeah.
So still it waits. So does he mean it waits in stillness, or it remains? So still it waits for my coming home. I think it's more a remain thing. Let's phrase it better. So, because it waits for my coming home.
Yeah.
Because it waits in stillness. Waits in stillness for my coming home. I will no longer turn away from my true identity. I think that's better, because it waits in stillness for my coming home. Maybe just turn it around. I will no longer wait. I will no longer turn away from my true identity. because it waits in stillness for my coming home, for my return home. What I perceive, test the truth of the identity I sought to lose, which my father or my source has kept safe for me. Just read it from the top, if you don't mind.
I seek my own identity and find it in these words. Love, which extends me, is what I am. Now I need to seek no more. Love has prevailed. I will no longer turn away from my true identity because it waits in stillness for my return home. And what I perceive attests the truth of the identity I sought to lose, but which my source has kept safe for me.
Okay, so thoughts on that?
Well, just not turn away from our true identity. And it's there in stillness, waiting for our return home.
I think that's the biggest comfort in this teaching. It's always and always has been there. It's already there. So it's waiting for your return home. You haven't been abandoned. You haven't been punished, excommunicated from heaven. As religious teachings would seek to teach us. It's right there in your awareness, available in the present moment if you choose to return to it. So it comes down to your choice. Will you choose to let go of the blocks to its awareness and return home, or will you remain in those blocks, in a separated state, which is miserable by comparison? And each lesson really is making that choice. The lessons are powerful because he's asking you to make the right choice, the right-minded choice, using the lesson for the day, that day, and repeatedly through the day, not just one time, but whenever you practice it, you're making a choice. Saying, yes, I choose my true identity. I choose to return home, which means I must let go of everything else, including this world. All my investment in this world must be let go of. So it's very repetitive. The course goes over and over the same stuff. People are like, why is he repeating himself so many times? Because it's a choice. Every day he's asking us to make that choice. And by making the choice, we confirm who we are and what our ultimate reality is every time we choose. So he's saying keep choosing right-mindedly, and eventually you will come to know that is who you are, and there's no question in your mind anymore. Any doubts sown by the ego will have gone, and you will be free, 100% free in that true identity. Okay. Any other thoughts or comments on the first paragraph? Shall we go to
That's good.
the prayer?
Yeah. My source, I give thanks to you for what I am and for keeping my true identity untouched and innocent in the midst of all the thoughts of sin my foolish mind made up. And thanks to you for freeing me from them. So it is.
Yeah. So Father, translations are Father becomes my source, and Amen means so it is, or so be it. So it is. So what's he saying here? What do you say? Because it's meant to be said to address your source.
Yeah, we're just thanking the source for keeping our true identity untouched and innocent. amidst all these thoughts of sin that the foolish mind made up when the reality is never been touched.
Mm.
And, thanking in gratitude for freeing us from this foolish mind.
Mm. So the prayer is just asking us to feel into that, really affirm it. The prayers are really affirmations of statements of being. I give thanks that I am this. It's a prayer of thanksgiving, which is the most powerful prayer. Not, I pray for this and I pray for that, wanting something. It's the prayer of I give thanks for what I already have, which is wholly in alignment with the perennial philosophy here, saying, well, you already have it, it's already there. So don't deny it subtly by saying, I need it, I want it, when it's already there. Just accept that it's already there. And then it comes into your awareness. So that's how true prayer should work. It's a prayer of thanksgiving and gratitude to say, yes, it's already there. And the mind accepts that, then that becomes your reality. Yeah, it's already there. You've accepted it. And so even if it's not there physically, very often it comes because you've already accepted it, and so you've brought it into being. See that? So true prayer is always the prayer of thanks rather than the prayer of wanting. Oh, please God, I want something. Give me this. Please God, thank you. Please, but thank you. To my own source, nothing outside of me, but thank you to my own highest awareness, my own deepest self, for being there and for giving me this understanding, the wisdom, the gifts that it brings. And I'm acknowledging what's already there, in which case I can't fail. You see, that kind of prayer is no doubt, is there? You're not saying, well, please give me this, and then, now I'm in the future and I don't know if it's going to happen or not, which is the traditional model of prayer. And then actually you're just in desire and fear. So it's quite low on the scale of consciousness, if you recall, with David. Let's just bring it up, shall we? It's down at 100 and 125. Where are we? Map of consciousness. Somewhere here. There we go. So 100 and 125. Desire is 125. Fear is 100. So they're quite low on the level. They halfway up the negative scale, because up to 200 is negative. So they're about halfway above all of the really dark, past-based emotions. So as soon as you move into fear, you become future focused, don't you? You can't fear the past. You can only regret the past. But fear is a future emotion, and then desire also future. So this is the past channel from 100 downwards. The future channel is 100 to 200, and courage comes at 200, where you say, okay, I need to face my stuff, whatever's going on in the present moment. When you come into the present, when you go beyond 200 and above, and you have to face whatever's arising presently, not in the future or the past. Okay, so any other thoughts on this one?
No, that's good.
Yeah, that's this and other forms of it. I am as God created me is another one, but they some of the most powerful lessons in the workbook, because they speak directly to your identity. Who are you? Love which created me is what I am. It's an unequivocal statement. It's not fudging it at all. It's like making it very clear what you are. love which extends me, is what I am. I am this loving awareness and nothing else. Okay, so shall we dive straight into the text? You want to do the meditation?
Yeah, we'll go into the text. Or, yeah, it's up to you.
Yeah, it's quite a long one, so
Yeah,
maybe for the time we'll do a med at the end.
yeah.
All right. So let's go into the text. And text reading. It's called Dreamer of the Dream. Okay, so the Dreamer of the Dream. Make sure the audio is set up correct. Look like okay, so no point recording that. Don't think. My microphone keeps coming and going.
It's okay at this end.
Start video. Okay. Yeah, it's just not showing it as an option. It's changed. Recording device. Just say something, Elaine.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
It hardly picks you up on the recording.
Can you not hear me? Can you
I
hear
can
me?
hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah.
Just the recording doesn't say anywhere. I'll just can it. Just use it for meditation. I'm recording it elsewhere. So, okay. So let's look at today's text reading, which is section 7 of chapter 27, called The Dreamer of the Dream. 16 paragraphs. So we'll try and get through it at a sort of a paragraph every 5 minutes, shall we? Let's see how we go. So read it in the alternative. Almost to translate anyway, here in the first paragraph.
Suffering emphasizes all that the world has done to injure me. Here is the world's demented version of awakening clearly shown, like to dream of punishment in which I am unconscious of what brought on the attack against myself. I see myself attacked unjustly and by something not myself. I am the victim of this something else, a thing outside myself for which I have no reason to be held responsible. I must be innocent because I know not what I do, only what is done to me. Yet my own attack upon myself is apparently still apparent, there we go. For it is I who bear the suffering, and I cannot escape because its source is being outside myself. Is seen outside myself.
Yeah, we'll just make that active rather than passive tense because I perceive its source outside myself. So if something is outside of me, how can I escape from it? Whereas if it's within me, then I just have to change my mind. But if it's outside of me, it appears like I'm a victim of of these attacks that are upon me, and then I try and fix it on that level. So the fight or flight response is our ego's attempt to deal with it. We're either going to fight it or we're going to flee from it. But either way, you're actually enslaved by it because you are reacting to it as though it's real. Whereas if you recognize that the attack is not real, then you can let it go in your own mind, and you can genuinely be free of it because you're going to the source, which is in your own mind. So it's a critical point, to get out of the victim identity that he talks about. You have to perceive it as within. You cannot project the attack outside and say, someone or something's attacking me, because then I'm a victim of it, aren't I?
Mm.
You have to bring it back and say, well, actually, no, it's me doing it to me, just via this agent who seems to be attacking me, who's external to me, but that's just a projection. So it's actually my own mind that's attacking me, which is hard, but it's very liberating. Most people try and avoid that because they don't want to see that. They prefer to project it out and blame it on someone else. But that responsibility is critical. In fact, it's probably the essence of any authentic spiritual path.
Yeah.
One of the key features is that you take responsibility. Yeah, whatever happens to me, it's really my doing. And people go, well, how can that be? Because someone hurt you or attacked you, how are you responsible? Because they don't see that genesis of it. That if someone hurt you, attacked you, it's your own attack which has been projected out, and then the ego finds an agent of that attack to then show it to you in your dream to make it real.
Yeah.
So it requires this understanding of projection perception, and then the taking of total responsibility says, well, whatever I experience is my responsibility because I'm projecting and perceiving it. And ultimately, the ultimate responsibility comes from the realization that I decided to separate. Why am I responsible? Because when I decided to separate, I chose that, then I'm really responsible for everything that happens after that, because it was my choice. We all made that fatal choice to separate, seemingly. So everything that happens subsequent to that is my responsibility, isn't it? If I take that on, okay, it's all a consequence of the belief in separation. All negativity, anything fearful, attacking, that's unpleasant in this world is a consequence of the thoughts of separation, which I chose. So therefore, I must be responsible for it at the highest level. So that's where the total responsibility comes from. And then if I can apply it, it liberates me, it frees me in the dream to free myself from being a victim. I'm not a victim because I created this. I made it up. Maybe on a deep unconscious level, but still I made it up, and so I can also change my mind. So does that make sense? The taking of total responsibility.
It does.
We must perceive the cause within ourselves. That goes hand in hand, the taking of responsibility. As soon as you project out and say it's someone or something outside of me doing it to me, you're not taking full responsibility. You're buying into the victim identity. So understanding the metaphysics of this and the nature of projection perception is key to the taking of full responsibility. The one goes hand in glove with the other. Do you see that?
Yeah.
If you don't understand those metaphysics, it won't make any sense to you that you're responsible. No, I'm not responsible because look, that was done to me by some other person. You have to understand that there is no other real person, but that's just an image the ego is using to attack you in your dream based on your own thought system of fear and attack. That's now manifesting in the form of this situation. So you have to understand that to take total responsibility, which is why, in the course, he spent so much time teaching us about the metaphysics, because he's going, well, you're not going to accept responsibility until you really understand how this whole dream works, and that yes, then I am responsible because I've projected it on one level and perceived it on another, and set up the whole projection perception mechanism, which then enslaves me into this. If I perceive it egoically, it enslaves me into this victim identity, and I think I'm a victim of a cruel, unfair world, living a helpless, enervated little life, limitation, lack of illness, and suffering before I die. Okay, so yeah, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense, but it's the ego. It's very, very stubborn. It does like to blame the things that are happening outside. It wants to blame outside rather than inside. So yeah, it's very clear.
Yeah. It does that because it has to maintain the illusion of guilt and sin. It has to project it out. If you realize that it's within your own mind, then you could correct it, couldn't you? Say, well,
You could, yes,
I don't want it. As soon as you say, well, it's within me, there's nothing outside of me, so I can't really blame anyone else. I can just look within and see the guilt and the sin within me and go, oh, that's not very nice. That feels awful, in fact. But I can let go of that feeling. I don't have to believe this. Then the ego's under serious threat, because guilt and sin underpin its individual identity. So then you start to undermine its existence, which it's trying to defend. So that's why it's, the mind is so obsessed with projection, because it avoids the internal inquiry that will reveal the ego, and it projects it out and says, no, it's out, the problem's out there. Yeah. And you're a victim of a problem out there. So that keeps the guilt and the separate self intact. You never really inquire into that and start seeing its true nature, because your mind is occupied with the projection and projecting it out into the world, blaming someone else. Make sense?
It does. Yeah.
So it's a key point, and we've been over it again, but one has to remind yourself frequently. And that I could almost say, if you get one thing out of this course, accept the fact that you are responsible. If you can do that, that starts to turn the ego around, because that then says none of this. I'm not a victim of the world I see. I'm responsible for it. So, but I can change it. If I'm responsible for it, I can change it changes by changing my thinking about it. And so it turns the focus within rather than without. And as soon as you go within, you're starting to then get somewhere, because our only true reality is within our minds. You're not then caught up in the dream illusion as much. You're still interacting with it, but you don't believe that that is solely you. So if you look into a model, it's a shift. The taking of full responsibility shifts you from the external locus of control, the outside people, things, and events controlling your mind, to an internal one. Because you say, well, I'm responsible for what I'm thinking and feeling and perceiving. So it's not something outside of me that's causing it. I am directly responsible for those thoughts and emotions as they arise. If I don't like them, I can't blame anyone else. I can just go, well, that's my own responsibility. I need to let them go. They may be triggered by by what's happening here in the right-hand quadrants, but they're still my responsibility, because they're arising from my own unhealed mind, unhealed and split off mind. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So should we move on to number 2? I'm being shown I can escape.
Yep, now I'm being shown I can escape. All that is needed is I look upon the problem as it is, and not the way that I have set it up. How could there be another way to solve a problem that is very simple, only has been obscured by heavy clouds of complication, which were made to keep the problem unresolved? Without the clouds...
Pause there.
Oh,
It's a but. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only, and the only doesn't quite make sense. It's because the ChatGPT has translated
Yeah, yes.
but as only, and I can't get it to stop doing it. Even though I've instructed, it just doesn't.
Yeah,
Okay,
yes. It's
just
happened a few
fix
times.
it
Yeah.
manually.
Right. So, but has been obscured by heavy clouds of complication, which were made to keep the problem unresolved. Without the clouds, the problem will emerge in all its primitive simplicity. Primitive? Yeah.
That's what he uses, primitive simplicity. So primitive.
That sort of makes
saying
it
it's a sort of base. It's going back to the very roots of it.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Primitive meaning. Might get a synonym for it as well. Relating to, denoting, or preserving character of an early stage in the evolutionary historical development of something. Very basic or unsophisticated in terms of a comfort, convenience, or efficiency. Yeah, so a very basic, unsophisticated. Yeah, it's primitive in its original comes to be. Without the clouds, problem will emerge in all its
primitive simplicity. The
Should we
choice
change primitive or
it's
all its real simplicity then might be.
Choice will not be difficult because the problem is absurd. Oh, I'm not on another line there. Without the clouds, the problem will emerge in all its real simplicity. Yeah. Yeah.
Real better than primitive.
I think so, yes.
Okay.
So the choice will not be difficult because the problem is absurd when clearly seen. No one has difficulty making up their mind to let a simple problem be resolved if it is seen as hurting them and also very easily removed.
My choice will not be difficult because the problem is absurd when clearly perceived. And there's difficulty making up their mind to let a simple problem be resolved if they perceive it as hurting them. In mind to let a simple problem be resolved, they perceive it as hurting them. And also to let a simple problem be resolved and also very easily removed. So the problem is resolved and also very easily removed. So what's he saying in this one?
Well, now we can escape, so we can see the problem as it is and not the way that we've set it up by the ego. So they're obscured by heavy clouds of complication, and it's been deliberately made so the problem will never be resolved. But without the clouds, we can see the problem in its simple or in its real simplicity. So therefore, the problem isn't too difficult. We can just make a choice and stop it from hurting, and it can easily be removed. So to see the problem is from within than outside.
Just going to move that over here. They perceive it as hurting them. No one has difficulty making up their mind to let a simple problem be resolved. And also very easily removed. That makes it. Just read it from the top, if you don't mind.
Now I'm being shown that I can escape. All that is needed is that I perceive the problem as it is and not the way that I have set it up. How could there be another way to solve a problem that is very simple, but has been obscured by heavy clouds of complication, which were made to keep the problem unresolved? Without the clouds, I will perceive the problem in all its simplicity. My choice will not be difficult because the problem is absurd when clearly perceived. If they perceive it as hurting them, no one has difficulty making up their mind to let a simple problem be resolved and also very easily removed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's straightforward.
That's good. Just, it's actually a no-brainer what he's saying. It's in common language. It's a no-brainer. Okay, it's not like this isn't rocket science. It's not complicated. Because the problem is not really a problem. The problem is a ridiculous idea which you've believed that creates, all these problems of separation. But actually, it's just a tiny mad idea. So it's not really a problem. You've just made it into a huge problem. Problem is absurd when clearly perceived. How can you be what you're not? That's absurd. How can you choose to be something you're not, and then believe that you are that something that you're not, and deny what you really are? That's an absurd problem.
But we do it time and time again. Yeah.
So, but if we correctly perceive it, then you can see that it's absurd and insane. Makes no sense. All right, so happy to move on to 3. Reasoning.
The reasoning by which the world is made, on which it rests, by which it is maintained, is simply this: you are the cause of what I do. Your presence justifies my wrath, and you exist and think apart from me. While you attack, I must be innocent, and what I suffer from is your attack. No one who looks upon this reasoning exactly as it is could fail to see it does not follow and makes no sense. Yet it seems sensible because it looks as if the world were hurting me, and so it seems as if there is no need to go beyond the obvious in terms of cause.
I think it does not follow is not logical and makes no sense. And it seems sensible because it looks as if the world were hurting. It seems as if the world and it seems as if there is no need to go beyond the obvious in terms of cause. Yeah. So what's he saying in this one?
Well, again, it's an upside world, isn't it? I mean, it's not logical, and it doesn't make sense for us to attack from outside. But yet it does seem sensible, because it seems the world is hurting us. So it seems as if there is no need to go beyond the obvious in terms of cause. But that's, yeah, well, it's about the reasoning in which the world is made. So basically, we are the cause of what we do. So while we attack, we must be innocent. Well, while you attack, I must be innocent.
Well, this is what the ego tells us. Saying you're
Oh.
a fool. Yeah, this is the story. It's the reasoning by which, quote, reasoning, which the world is made, on which it rests, and by which it is maintained, is simply this. You are the cause. This is the blaming of the ego. Says to someone else, you are the cause of what I do. Your presence justifies my wrath. Let's say anger, shall we? Justifies my anger. And you exist and think apart from me. Okay, so you someone outside of me, and you can hurt me. While you attack me, I must be innocent. And what I suffer from is your attack. Okay? So that's the victim's mantra, which is the common thought system of this world. Oh, poor me! By your hand I suffer, and I'm hurt by you, and so you are to blame, and you will be punished by God and not me. That's the whole story. That's what the ego is trying to accomplish. So now I'm off the hook. I'm not the guilty one. You're guilty, and God will punish you and not me. It's very childish. It's completely insane. But he's asking us to just see it for what it is. So this is the whole dynamic going on here. The guilt and the sin project out as anger and attack. And when we say, well, you are the one who did this to me, so now I accuse and I blame you as the victim for my pain and my suffering. Yeah, so he's just stating the case in egoic terms very clearly, of what that thought system is, and then saying, well, like you can see that it makes no sense. It may seem to, you have these characters in your dream, but actually it's coming from your own mind. It's just a projection of your own mind. Even though it may seem sensible, as if the world is hurting you. It's not really the case. So just building on the theme of the second paragraph, saying you're totally responsible, and encouraging us to take that responsibility. Okay, so I'm happy to move to number 4.
Yeah.
Moving swiftly on.
There is indeed a need. I need that just brought up a little bit. Yeah. There is indeed a need. The world's escape from condemnation is a need which those within the world are joined in sharing. Yet they do not recognize their common need. For each one thinks that if he does his part, the condemnation of the world, will rest on him. And it is this that he perceives to be his part in its deliverance. Vengeance must have a focus. Otherwise, is the avenger's knife in his own hand and pointed to himself, and he must see it in another's hand if he would be a victim of attack and did not choose. And thus he suffers from the wounds a knife he does not hold has made upon himself.
Okay, so what's he saying now? What's he saying in this one?
The world's escape from condemnation is a need which those within the world are joined in sharing. So this is the escape of we. But I can't see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see that happening, though. So we're all to join together in these words or this way.
Yeah, the world's escape from condemnation is a need which
we all
those
need,
within the world are joined in sharing. Yeah.
So we all need to do this.
Yeah, all share, and it would be simpler.
Yeah. Yet they do not recognize their common need. So for each one.
It's the one universal need that everyone has.
Yeah, yes.
Escape from this awful thought system of condemnation, and attack, and fear, and hatred. And every human being shares that, like every living being. That just talk about humans. We can start getting it right with humans. That's massive. It's easier with animals. And love them and have compassion because they don't speak.
Well, that's right. Yes, yeah.
Much easier for them. They have their own opinions and judgments, and they just are. Yeah, it's much easier. But our humans speak, and so then they voice their opinion. You go, well, I don't really agree with that, or I don't like what you said, so now we have issues. Whereas the dog just doesn't do that.
No.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Right.
Different human beings are the hardest.
They certainly are, yes. So what's this? Avenger's knife in his own hand and pointed to himself. So
Avenger's knife is in his own hand. Not recognized. Each one thinks that he does his part, that if, let's just say they do their part, condemnation of the world will rest on them. Is this that they perceive can be their part in its deliverance, in its
vengeance must have a focus.
Yeah. So we focus it outside of ourselves.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, the avenger's knife is in his own hand and pointed to himself. The avenger's knife is in work, avengers. Maybe work, we'll keep it as his. In his own hand and pointed to himself. And he must see it in another's hand if he would be a victim. Avengers. It needs to be plural. Angel's knife is in their own hand and pointed to themselves. And they must steer it in another's hand. He would be a victim of attack he did not choose. So if they want to be a victim, they would be a victim they want a victim of attack. They did not choose. They must perceive it in another's hand. So they suffer wounds, a knife. They do not hold as made upon themselves. Just read it from the top.
Yeah. Excuse me. There is indeed a need. The world's escape from condemnation is a need which those who seem to live within the world all share. Yet they do not recognize their common need, for each one thinks that if they do their part, the condemnation of the world will rest on them. And it is this that they perceive to be their part in its deliverance. Vengeance must have a focus. Otherwise, the avenger's knife is in their own hand and pointed to themselves. If they want to be a victim of attack, they do not choose. They must perceive it in another's hand. And so they suffer from the wounds a knife they do not hold has made upon themselves.
And so they must perceive it happens by another's hand. They must perceive that someone else has attacked them. That's what his means. And so they suffer from the wounds. A knife they did not hold is made upon themselves. So very simply, this is not rocket science saying, we think someone else has attacked us, someone else has hurt us. We suffer because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And we must believe that if we want to be a victim of attack that we did not choose. Then that's how we have to perceive the world, isn't it? If I choose to be a victim, which is the lowest self-concept of the ego, then I have to perceive that the outside world, people and circumstances can attack me. But he's saying it's a choice. The choice to be a victim leads to the apparent external attacks. It's my own choice. And it's a necessary, the victim identity is absolutely necessary for the ego to survive. You know, every ego is a victim. Even if you get someone like say Donald Trump, who's very grandiose, so big, over the top personality who's, you know, made a lot of money, has been president of the United States, actually still a victim underneath, because he's believing in the ego. And then, of course, you see when he gets something right doesn't happen, he lost the election, and it's like, oh poor me, you know, I've been hardly done by, I've been cheated, and he complains because he must then perceive that he's been attacked by the outside world and fed. So that's the victim story. That's the ego's really deeply entrenched story that's run through human history. Yeah, this is the story of the ego. Of course, a victim must have a persecutor. So that's why throughout human history you have this, you know, dynamic of victims and victimizers, victims and persecutors, all the time in personal relationships, and on a larger level in social structures, in different groups. You know, the one victimizes the other, persecutes the other. This is common. So it threads through human history and every society, every part of the world. Victims and persecutors. Why is it such a common story? Well, because the ego requires it to maintain its existence. That's what he's saying. He's saying don't be fooled by it, because it's just made up. And in fact, you are choosing to be a victim. If they want to be a victim of attack, they did not choose. And they must perceive that someone else has attacked them. You know, the two go hand in hand. And the ego is telling you you're a victim of attack because someone else has attacked you. But that's the wrong way around. Holy Spirit says, no, someone else has attacked you because you think you're a victim of attack. In fact, you want to be a victim of attack. That's why someone else has attacked you. So it sees the true causation, which is in the mind. You know, so it's inside out, not outside in. Holy Spirit says, hang on, if you're experiencing something in the external, someone's attacked you in your objective so-called reality, then you've done it to yourself. You've actually wanted to be a victim, and you've created it. Ego says, no, that's not the case. Actually, you're a victim because someone's attacked you. Do you see? The causation is either internal or external, depending on which thought system you believe in. And it's a critical distinction. You know, this, as I said, this is like absolutely the key. You accept, okay, I'm responsible. No one can do anything to me unless on some level I've created it. Then you start to take responsibility and turn around the ego's thought system. But if you continuously believe that, you know, something or someone outside of you has done it to you, then you continue to be a victim of the world. And there's no hope. You can't free yourself from it. And those are the two different thought systems, which he's training us to see very clearly that there's a distinction and make the correct choice. Okay, so any other thoughts on number 4?
Yeah, no, that's good. Thank you. That was well explained.
It's actually very, very straightforward. There's nothing that's difficult about this section, because it's just describing like one of the fundamental human traits, ego traits. Well, yes, I'm a victim, and I believe I can be attacked and hurt by others.
Yeah.
Pointing out that that's not true.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving
So we
on
just
to
need
number
to
5 then.
we need to believe it. That's the thing, isn't it?
To be a separate self, you need to believe it. Yeah. Otherwise, you would see that the Avenger's knife is in their own hand and pointed to themselves. You go, well, actually, I'm attacking myself. Well, that's insane. Once I realize I'm attacking myself, you know, the obvious thing is to stop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll stop doing it. You know, I'm attacking myself with my thoughts and my emotions that are attacking. That's what's really attacking me. Okay, we'll stop doing it. Let it go.
Yeah.
But the ego says, no, we want to keep that game going. It makes the separate self real. So we have to see the attack as outside, because if it's outside of you, then it's beyond your control. Someone's attacked you, and therefore, of course I'm going to feel attacked because someone's attacked me outside me. So it puts the causation outside, and inverts cause and effect. That's its key characteristic. It says the cause is outside of you, not within you. The Holy Spirit says, no, the cause is always within you, and then it's projected outside.
Yeah.
And those two ideas, those two thought systems won't ever agree, will they? Because they're completely opposite.
Yeah.
They don't agree. So it's like you've got to take your pick. Which one are you going to choose? And there's only two. Those are the options.
Yeah.
You're either a victim of the world, it's being done to you, oh poor you, and you can tell all the stories you want about that, or say, no, I'm responsible. I'm doing it to myself. Those are essentially the choices which we all have to make as human beings. And if you make the choice for the ego, then you will remain a victim of the world, and you're going to be unhappy. You can't find happiness in that, because you're always liable to be attacked by someone or something. So fear, doubt, worry, anger, resentment, all of those emotions come with the victim identity. If you choose to be responsible, then you can turn that all around. But it's initially hard, because you've got to go, well, I did it to myself. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like, all my suffering is my own miscreation? Yes. Wow, well, that's hard to take, because look at how I've hurt myself. So there's a self-forgiveness going, well, okay, that wasn't really me. That was just my insane ego mind.
Yeah.
So I'm not really responsible. I'm not guilty, because that's not real. That entity is not real. It's just an insane thought that took hold of my mind. It possessed me. I was possessed by this insane entity. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I'm not guilty. I just was not in my right mind, and I had no idea who I was and what I was doing. So how can I be judged? If you're insane, and even in our legal system, the insane get different treatment. They don't get incarcerated in a normal prison, because, like, well, you're insane clinically, so you've got to go to a special institution. So it's that kind of, well, you've just been insane. You didn't know what you were doing. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Yeshua said it. And you're all insane. And the only solution for that is forgiveness. So let it go and look beyond the insanity. Okay, so number 5, this is the purpose of the world I see.
Yeah, this is the purpose of the world I see. And looked at thus, the world provides the means by which this purpose seems to be fulfilled. The means attest the purpose only or are not themselves a cause.
Just wait for me to catch up.
Yeah,
when I see the world in this way, it provides the means by which this purpose seems to be fulfilled. The means attest the purpose. So the means attest to the purpose. Only are not themselves, but are not themselves a cause. Nor the cause be changed. And the means they're not themselves a cause. Provides the means by which this purpose. So something happens outside of me, someone attacks me in some way, usually in our society, verbally, or in writing or something, but it's okay, it's an attack. That's not the cause. Nor the cause be changed by perceiving it apart from its effects. So we must see that the effects, this attack, are a result of the cause, which is in our own mind. Cause produces the effects. We carry on, which then bear witness to the cause.
Yeah, so nor will the cause be changed by perceiving it apart from its effects. The cause produces the effects which then bear witness to the cause and not themselves. Look then beyond effects. It is not here the cause of suffering and sin must lie. And dwell not on the suffering and sin, for they are but reflections of their cause.
And so therefore I must look beyond effects. It is not here the cause of suffering and sin must lie. It's not here cause of suffering. Does not lie. It is not the cause of suffering and sin. Is not here. Cause of suffering and sin is not, let's make it even more explicit, is not in its effects. That's a profound statement. The cause of suffering and sin is not in its effects.
So its effects happening from outside the external. The cause of suffering and sin.
The effects are what happens externally. So let's look at the model. Effects show up here in the exterior world, in my own objective reality or inter-objective for many people. But those effects are not the cause, what he's saying. Cause of suffering and sin does not lie in its effects, in their effects. Suffering and sin not lie in their effects. Cause of suffering and sin does not lie in the effects. Very simple.
Mm-hmm.
So the ego tells you the cause lies in the effects. Oh, someone's attacked you. Now that's a cause of your suffering. Now you victimize and you hurt because someone's attacked you. Holy Spirit turns around and says, no, these are not a cause. These are effects. The cause is sin and guilt in your mind, which originate in your own decision to be separate. So that's why you think you're being attacked, because you decided to separate. And that is then a consequence of your own decision to be separate. And that takes you down the ladder through the guilt and the sin into fear and attack. And then you end up as a victim of the world, the bottom of the ladder of separation. But the cause is in your own mind, the idea of separation you wanted to believe. So you just take it back to first principles, and then it's quite simple to undo it. Okay, well, there's no separation. It was just a tiny mad idea. That's not true. So I don't have to keep believing it. Does that make sense?
Does.
Yeah. So critical, cause and the ego, remember, this is always upside down. Ego inverts cause and effect. So it doesn't get you to see true cause and effect. It says the effect is the cause, and now the cause becomes the effect. So you're a victim of the world because you got attacked. Not, no, I'm the victim of the world because I believed in separation. I decided I wanted to be a victim, and then I'm attacked because of it, see?
Mm-hmm.
So it's such a simple distinction, really, but it's obscure. The ego doesn't want you to see it. And most people, unawakened, you won't get this. You go, no, what are you talking about? It's ridiculous. That person did it to me. You can see it. It's just witness the world witnesses that. It says, what are you crazy? How can you say that? Because it's very obvious that they attacked me, and therefore I am the victim of them. because they attacked me. Like, that's fairly obvious. But that's just flatland. That's just seeing the illusion, not the truth. Not really seeing. Someone like that doesn't really see that causation is in the mind, in the interior domains. Isn't really understood. But that's where all causation originates and returns to. And so you think in sin and guilt terms, and then that's projected out. You see those effects, and then if you're still in the ego, you judge it from the egoic perspective, and that reinforces your internal reality of sin and guilt, that you are a victim, and creates more of the same, more projection. So projection and perception just reinforce each other, and you just get caught up in this self-perpetuating feedback loop, which is a trap for the mind. Okay. Happy with that one. So moving on to number 6. Part I play.
The part I play in salvaging the world from condemnation is my own escape. Forget not that the witness to the world of evil cannot speak except for what has seen a need for evil in the world. And this is where my guilt was first beheld. In separation from my companion was the first attack upon myself begun. And it is this that the world bears witness to. Seek not another cause, nor look among the mighty legions of its witnesses for its undoing. They support its claim on my allegiance. What conceals the truth is not where I should look to find the truth.
Except for what has perceived need for evil in the world, and this is where my guilt was first beheld, experienced maybe. This is where I first experienced my guilt. Separation from my companion was the first attack upon myself begun. So I first began the attack upon myself when I thought separated from my companions, and is this the world bears witness to? Is this the world witnesses to? Is this the world seems to be evidence of? Thinking on the cause and looking among the mighty legions. This is what I'm doing. I will not seek the cause, nor look among the mighty legions of its witnesses for its undoing. So everyone mighty. What's he put mighty? They're not really mighty. How can I look among the many witnesses? I'll look for its undoing. Among the many witnesses to among its many witnesses. So don't look to the world for the undoing, because they support its claim on my allegiance. Conceals the truth is not where I should look to find the truth. Yeah. So what's he's saying in this one? Just read it from the top. Just make sure we're good with it.
The part I play in salvaging the world from condemnation is my own escape. I will not forget that the witness to the world of evil cannot speak except for what has perceived a need for evil in the world. And this is where I first experienced my guilt. I first began the attack upon myself when I thought I separated from my companions, and 'tis in this world seems to be evidence of. I will not seek another cause, nor look for its undoing among its many witnesses. They support its claim on my allegiance. What conceals the truth is not where I should look to find the truth.
Yeah, so what's he saying in this
one? Well, the bottom line is probably what conceals the truth is not where I should look to find the truth. So that's sort of, we're not looking at all the witnesses in the world to confirm the evil.
The world's a setup, we say. It's set up to show you what the ego wants you to see. So don't look to the projection of the ego for witnesses to the truth, because you won't find them. You'll find witnesses to the ego, which then seem to support its case. Look to the world, it does seem to be quite a fearful, harsh, attacking place on the face of it.
It does.
So he's saying don't look there for evidence of perfect, pure formless awareness of perfect love, because you won't find it. You'll see evidence of the thought system of sin, guilt, fear, and attack, because that's what it was projected from. Like creates like. That thought system creates those effects. So don't look there. What conceals the truth is not where I should look to find the truth. The veil of illusion conceals the truth. Don't look in that veil to find the truth. You have to look beyond the veil. You have to discard the veil, overlook the veil, let it go to find the truth. Which is why one shouldn't get caught up in over-analyzing the ego, because then you're looking to the veil, into the veil for truth. Going, well, I'm trying to find it here, and it's very dark and foggy, but I can't find it. Well,
True.
you're never going to find it because it's it is the denial of the truth. You're not going to find what denies the truth.
Yeah.
You're not going to find the truth there. You'll only find it beyond a cloud. So the idea of clouds or mist or fog is quite a nice one. You're not going to find clarity of vision in the clouds. You have to go beyond it to where the air is clear. You're okay, well, now I'm beyond the clouds. I can see clearly. Okay, that wasn't really reality. That was just obscuring reality. I'm now seeing clearly. So I must look beyond the truth, in other words. Look beyond the clouds. You look beyond the errors, the projections of the ego to find the truth. Okay. So from 7 witnesses to sin.
The witnesses to sin all stand within one little space. And it is here I find the cause of my perspective on the world. Once I was unaware of what the cause of everything the world appeared to thrust upon me, uninvited and unasked, must really be. Of one thing I was sure, of all the many causes I perceived as bringing pain and suffering to me, my guilt was not among them. Nor did I in any way request them for myself. This is how all illusions came about. The one who makes them does not see himself as making them, and their reality does not depend on him. Whatever cause they have is something quite apart from him, and what he sees is separate from his mind. I cannot doubt my dream's reality, because I do not see the part I play in making them and making them seem real.
Those who make them do not understand their making, and their reality does not depend on them. So this is the misperception of the ego. They don't understand that they're making up their own nightmare. Whatever cause they have is something quite apart from them. They cause something quite apart from them. What you see is separate from his mind, what they see is separate from their mind. I don't doubt my dream's reality because I do not understand the part I play in making doubt the reality of my dreams. It's better. Yeah. Not the reality of my dreams because I do not understand the part I play in making them seem real. Okay, let's read it from the top and then
The witnesses to sin all stand within one little space. It is here I find the cause of my perspective on the world. Once I was unaware of what the cause of everything the world appeared to thrust upon me, uninvited and unasked, must really be. Of one thing I am sure, of all the many causes I perceived as bringing pain and suffering to me, my guilt was not among them, nor did I in any way request them for myself. This is how all illusions came about. Those who make them do not understand. They are making them, and their reality does not depend on them. Their cause is something quite apart from them, and they perceive is, and what they perceive is separate from their minds. I cannot doubt the reality of my dreams, because I do not understand the part I play in making them seem real.
Yes, what's he saying there? Simply put.
Well, I suppose that bottom line again. I cannot doubt the reality of my dreams because I do not understand the part I play in making them seem real. So we don't understand the ego. It's just taken us over, hasn't it? So.
Yeah, it's confused and deluded us. So it's telling us that now the cause is outside of us. We are not the cause of our problems. The world is the cause of our problems. And it has to maintain that illusion to maintain its identity. Otherwise, it's gone. If you understand, well, I'm doing it to myself, you would stop, wouldn't you? Go, well, that's crazy. Doing it's insane. Like, stop it. Which means I've got to stop, the cause in my own mind, the thoughts and emotions. So then I turn my attention inwards and I go, well, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? Okay, these are not nice thoughts and not nice feelings. Okay, well, that's the cause of my distress in the world. It's those thoughts and feelings that's really the cause, not anything that happens to me in the world. The ego says, oh, but you're upset because of what happened to you. Holy Spirit says, no, you're disturbed, your peace is disturbed, you're upset already because you chose to be a separate self, and then you project that out, and then you experience the effects of it. So the decision and the upset come first, and then the effects. The ego says, no, those effects are already the cause of your upset, your disturbance. And you can't, as I said before, you can't reconcile this. It's one or the other. One of them is correct and true. And if one of them is correct and true, the other one must be false and untrue because they contradict each other. They can't both be true. Do you see that? Okay, so happy with number 7?
Yeah.
Okay, number 8.
The resurrection.
Quite get this one right. And the rest are all correct. So I need to go and get the correct paragraph. If you look at the numbers, it gives it away. So it's actually number 6 because I use the previous ones to template to do the next one. So give me a moment. Let's find this and 8. 8. Okay.
Right. No one can awaken from a dream. The world is dreaming for me. I become a part of someone else's dream. I cannot choose to waken from a dream I did not make. Helpless I stand, a victim to a dream conceived and cherished by a separate mind. Careless indeed of me this mind must be, as thoughtless of my peace and happiness as is the weather or the time of day. It loves me not, only casts me at as it will, only casts me as it will in any role that satisfies its dream. So little is my worth, yeah.
Cast me as it will. So it's kind of just random in any role that satisfies its dream. Sort of shades of that famous Shakespeare quote. All the world's a stage, all the men and women merely players. And they have their entrances and their exits, and one man in his time plays many parts. And then he goes through the 7 stages of life. So same. But remember, Yeshua has access to all of that. He knows it all. So he refers to, his human history, world wars, Shakespeare. It's all references. He understands. I remember Sue once saying, well, "How did Jesus learn English?" And it's not really a question you can answer, because he's not at a human level. I don't think at that level you learn it. I think he downloads it. It's like English is in the mind. So he just taps into that mind and goes, okay, well, I can just use that. I can use that language. When you're at that level, it's not a case of I have to go learn a language like you would as a human being.
Yeah.
It's so the question is framed from the perspective of a limited human self, but there's no answering from that perspective. You can only go beyond that and go, well, he just knows because he is everything. He understands everything. He's the Christ mind, which can interact in the illusion, but doesn't lose itself in the illusion. Knows the truth, but can, understand the illusion. So that if he didn't understand the illusion, he couldn't help us, could he?
No.
So he has to be able to understand it and talk in our language and use, the language we've invented, in this case, English and symbols, and to communicate to us without really believing it. He knows they're just devices. They're just learning devices. Language is a learning device to bring us home to the pure formless awareness of perfect love, in which no language is required. It's just a pure experience. Okay, so it does not love me, but cast me as it will in any role it satisfies its dream. So little is my worth, and I'm only a dancing shadow, leaping up and down according to a senseless plot, conceived within the idle dreaming of the world. A dancing shadow. So again, all these references, they're subtle, but that references to the allegory of the cave, Plato's allegory of the cave. A dancing shadow, because it was the shadows on the cave wall that caused people to be confused. They believed the shadows were reality in the allegory. So there's shades of Shakespeare, allegory of Plato's cave, and not directly, but just referring to them. So those, if you know those literary what he's talking about, then you see almost certainly he understands. It's not accidental that he uses this language. There's another. He talks about prisoners in the cave. Does he talk about the cave? I'm not sure actually says cave, but prisoners. Prisoners chained. Again, the reference to Plato's allegory, because there were prisoners chained looking at the cave wall. He may actually well have come across that in his lifetime, because that was 500 years prior to his birth, that 400 odd years, that the allegory came out. So he may well have actually read it in his human lifetime. So he would have probably had access to them. Anyway, so if you can read it from the top and then just give your take on it. What's he saying there?
No one can awaken from a dream the world is dreaming for them. I become a part of someone else's dream. I cannot choose to waken from a dream I did not make. Helpless I stand, a victim to a dream conceived and cherished by a separate mind. Careless indeed of me this mind must be, as thoughtless of my peace and happiness as is the weather of time or the time of day. It does not love me, but casts me as it will in any role that satisfies its dream. So little is my worth that I am only dancing shadow, leaping up and down according to a senseless plot conceived within the idle dreaming of the world.
Yeah, it's quite profound, really. He's saying that we're just these characters in this dream, and the ego is like a puppeteer that's just controlling us, making us dance up and down and to its tune.
Yeah.
In a senseless plot. This is a pointless exercise. The whole thing is just senseless, conceived within the idle dreaming of the world. So the ego mind has conceived of this insane thought system based on separation. Then it has to get all of the characters in the dream to dance to its tune and believe in its story, so that they then play out their allotted role in this senseless plot, which is really going nowhere. It seems in the plot that there's something really happening, that it's at times interesting or exciting or scary or disappointing or downright awful or whatever. And it can seem sometimes to be going somewhere, but actually it's just senseless. There's no point to it. You're just caught up in the dreaming of the world to maintain an illusion of separation in your mind. That's all the world's there for. It's not really going anywhere. Time isn't going anywhere. It's just this. We're just caught up in this ongoing illusion, which is a perpetual feedback loop. As long as we're caught up in it, the mind stays there, just keeps dreaming, caught up in this senseless dream. It just goes round and around and really goes nowhere. That's what he's saying. We're just characters in the dream, cast by the ego, the belief in separation. Within the role, it's like the director cast me as it will in any role that satisfies its dream. Okay, well, you be that, just another slave in the matrix. You be that, you be that. And it's all kind of matrix idea. It's all sort of programmed, some kind of central program, which is the universal mind, ego. That's this at the top level, this of this tree, the ego, consciousness, belief in separation, Satan, universal mind. Difficult to fit universal mind in as well, so not space. I suppose I could expand the box. Universal mind. Maybe I'll do that when I change the diagram at some point. So that universal mind is then the director of the whole plot, of the whole story, and directs you to dance up and down to its tune and do what it wants you to do in the senseless plot. And it's no wonder then you feel a sense of futility and hopelessness and despair, because part of your mind knows that it's pointless, that you're just a slave. You the matrix terminology, you plugged into the matrix and you're just being governed by this master program that's telling you what to do, where to go, what to say, and does not want you to awaken from the matrix. It wants to keep you enslaved. So he's laying it all out here and telling us exactly what we caught up in. It's a dream, it's a matrix, it's a movie, all of these are analogies to what I use, whichever one works for you. The dream, but in modern terminology, it's a movie. We're caught up in a movie, and the script has been written by the ego. We are now a senseless shadow on the projected onto the screen. If we believe the ego story, and we dance to its tune, and there's really no point to that tune. There's no point to the plot.
Mm.
And when we start to awaken, we have to see beyond that plot and go, that's just crazy. It doesn't make sense. And it can feel very awful. It's not a nice feeling. What's the point of any of it? That sense of futility, apathy. But you have to go through it to get beyond it, to the state where you can go, okay, actually, that's very good news. I'm no longer caught up in the senseless plot. I can actually see it for what it is, and my mind is clear. I'm free of it. So I can still engage in the world, but I'm now doing it from the Holy Spirit's perspective. So I'm not just a character being played by the ego. I'm actually someone who's awakening, bringing the light into the dream. This is my only purpose. And so now my life has the only true meaning it will ever have, is that it's to be the light of the world, to be who I really am, and to live that and extend that to others. Then my life takes on the only meaning it ever can ever have. When I free myself from the senseless plot. And then I can live a truly inspired life. And I'm not a victim of the world. I'm not just being dictated to by the ego. I become an awakening being, consciously engaging in this world, knowing what's going on, and trying to free myself and others. That's the purpose of my life. So all my efforts are directed towards that, to the awakening, rather than to just doing senseless things the ego tells me to. What you saw yesterday, again, to reference that experience, was just senseless plots of the ego. There's no point to it. It's people just playing out the senseless plot, stuffing their face, smoking, drinking, whatever, and they've got no idea who they are. They're just being played by the ego in a senseless plot, which will ultimately lead them to their death. Suffering and death await them. What's the point? There is no point. Well, that's the point. There's no point to a life lived like that. The only point is to awaken from that dream. Okay, so happy was number 8.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9.
It's got number 8 on there.
Wait. Right, so is that what went wrong? Oh, God, I got the order wrong.
Just a bit of...
Never mind. Just another letting go opportunity.
Yeah,
moving past it. That's what happened to 8. It went into 9. Okay, copy and pasting. So 9. This is the only picture I can see. Hang on. 9. 8, 9. Okay, and then we've got 9 again. Great. So 10, and then maybe we can just delete 9. Okay, that's all right. So for some reason I did 9 twice. It's because ChatGPT splits it at 8. So it would only do 8 translated 8.
At a time,
at a time.
We're on to 10.
Oh, no, we haven't done 9.
Oh,
This
right.
is the only picture you can see,
Right, yeah. Okay. This is the only picture I can see. The one alternative that I can choose. The other possibility, of course, if I be not the dreamer of my dreams.
No, just wait. I'm just going to change this. If I I'm not the dreamer of my dreams. This is the only picture I can see. The one alternative that I can choose. The other possibility of cause. Okay, and this is what I choose.
And this is what I choose if I deny the cause of suffering is in my mind. Be glad indeed it is, for thus I am the one decider of my destiny in time. The choice is mine to make between a sleeping death and dreams of evil, or a happy wakening and a joy of life.
Yeah.
Right.
Just read it again from the top, if you don't mind.
Yeah. If I am not the dreamer of my dreams, this is the only picture I can see, the one alternative that I can choose, the other possibility of cause. And this is what I choose if I deny the cause of suffering is in my own mind. I am glad indeed it is, for so I am the one decider of my destiny in time. The choice is mine to make between sleeping death and dreams of evil, or a happy awakening and the joy of life is mine to make.
Maybe we just say, simplify it. I have the choice between sleeping death and dreams of evil, or a happy awakening joy. He does a lot in the passive, notice. I think it's simpler if you make it active.
Yeah.
So instead of is the choice is mine to make, you go, I have the choice. It's simpler, isn't it?
Yeah.
Saying the same thing, but just makes it more understandable, which is the whole point of the translation. I have the choice between the sleeping death and dreams of evil, or happy awakening and the joy of life. So what's he saying here? Very clear. Couldn't be clearer.
Yeah. Well, if we're not the dreamer of our dreams, then we have a choice between sleeping death of evil, or we can have a happy awakening and the joy of life. So we can choose because we are not the dreamer of the dreams.
But if I deny, the key thing is this is what I choose. If I deny the cause of suffering is in my own mind, which makes me a victim of the world, then if I deny that and I make myself a victim of the world, I must believe in the dream. It's no alternative, is it? It's the one I have to believe in. Oh, it's outside of me. I'm a victim of the world. It makes the external world real, makes the world of guilt and sin and fear and attack real. You're then a victim of it. There's no escape because that's what you believe. So it's a fatal choice, literally, because that is the choice for death. Over and over, you will die because the world will seem to attack and grind you down, wear you down until eventually you die. That's the human story, isn't it?
It is. Well, I mean, not so much in everybody, because I mean, there are people that seem to live the happy dream, yeah. You know, those that have been married for many years and seem to have found a holy relationship.
Oh. It is possible. Those are the enlightened ones of the world. Those are people who are awakening and have transcended.
Yeah.
You know, and so even though they're aging and they eventually will die, it doesn't affect them that much because actually there's something beyond it. But, you know, the human condition is, you are going to age. There's going to be suffering in your life, probably some sickness, death is your, inevitable That's what every life leads to, what every life comes to. And that's the consequence for dreaming the dream. You want to be the dreamer of the dream, then that is what you put in, letting yourself in for. That's what he's saying. You go to our timeline diagram. If you really look at this, objectively speaking, if this is, the average human life, there's various traumas and a few successes, and would you really choose that? If you were looking from above and going, okay, well, I'm about to incarnate into a body, and this body is now destined to have, all these dream experiences. Would you choose to go there? And Yeshua's trying to teach us that no, you really wouldn't. It's a very bad choice to make. Look at all the stuff you have to go through, and eventually it leads to one certain outcome. You will die. So what was the point of it? There was no point. That's what he's teaching us. There was no point. It was an aberration, a separation from source that never really happened, and you just got caught up in this crazy dream. So now you seem to be in it. It's okay. You seem to have a body. You've born. You've done you've made the mistake of incarnating. Okay, but now you can change your mind. You can correct that mistake. That's what the miracle is, the correction of that error, so that you can free your mind to return back to its true awareness, and never have to do this again, not make the same mistake again, because we've made this many times. Reincarnation is just a mistake over and over and over again. Repeat the same mistake. As David Hoffmeyer says, the stubborn belief that you actually know what you're doing. Reincarnation, stubborn belief. No, I know what I'm doing. I'm a separate self. I want to be a separate self. The world's real. Off we go again. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to do that? Yes, just say. Because just look at what it involves. Look at what that choice involves. To dream the dream. It's not a good outcome. If you believe in the dream, you will suffer, you will age, you will get sick, you will die. Oh, it's like, did you really want to do that again? When you've done it enough times, he's saying. You haven't dreamed enough dreams. Well, then you start getting tired of it. I mean, what happens is, after enough times at it, something in you goes, hang on. You know what I mean? What's going on here? Everything's not right. There's something really not okay about the world. As Morpheus said to Neo, he said, it's like a splinter in your mind driving you mad. Okay, what's going on here? What is the main, what am I actually in? What is this reality? What's going on? That's the question. If you've experienced this world enough times, it starts just needling at you, like, what the hell's going on here? What am I actually doing here? What's it all about? And so, everyone will get there at some point. I think, we call them advanced souls, or people who've been enough times through the mole, enough incarnations to start to wonder, okay, what's going on? And they start questioning the dream, start asking these kinds of questions with people who haven't necessarily had as many incarnations or haven't awoken as much. Don't wonder. They just play out the dream. They're just in the matrix, and they think they really are what the matrix tells them they are. They're just a figure in the dream. They think they're an individual with a personal identity and a body and a tax number and all other things that go with being human. And they think that's really the case. That's their identity. They don't question. And they will look at those who do question and go, you're insane. And the ones who question are going, no, you're insane. You're asleep. You haven't seen. You can't see the wood for the trees. You're just caught up with so much in the dream on this red timeline that you can't see anything beyond it. It's just this narrow tunnel of time and space down which you hurtle towards inevitable suffering, aging, and death. So, wake up. What's happening? Can't you see? But they can't. Really can't. usually through pain, through trauma, then maybe you start questioning. Enough pain, and you go, okay, can't deal with this anymore. Like, got to find a way out. And then the ego offers that in something else, a distraction, drugs, alcohol, whatever, something else to distract from the pain. The Holy Spirit says, okay, well, let's go into it, let's face it, and help you release it so that you're actually free of it. Okay, happy with number 9?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, moving swiftly on to 10.
What could I choose between only life or death, waking or sleeping, peace or war, my dreams or my truth? There is a risk of thinking death is peace, because the world equates the body with my true self, which pure formless awareness of perfect love extended. Yet a thing can never be its opposite. And death is opposite to peace, because it is the opposite of life. And life is peace. Awaken and forget all thoughts of death, and I will find I have the peace of pure formless awareness of perfect love. Yet if the choice is really given me, then I must see the causes of the things I choose between exactly as they are and where they are.
And then I'll find out the peace of perfect love. Yet if the choice is really given to me, and I must see the causes of the things I choose between exactly as they are and where they are. Choice is really given me. Yet if I really do have a choice, which you do, absolutely, this is what the whole teaching is. You do have a choice. Fortunately, if we lost the power of choice, there'd be no way home, would there? You wouldn't be able to choose. But the ego can't undo the Holy Spirit. It's still an available option. The truth will always be there. So it's a choice we can make. If we so choose, it's going to do its best to try and make sure we don't make the choice, to obscure that choice and cover it over, tempt us to make the other choice for it, but it can't deny the other choice. No matter what, it's tried systematically to cover over the truth, and it hasn't managed. The truth is still there and is accessible. Hence, we have the great spiritual teachers and teachings. It's like, well, it couldn't cover over the truth forever, because there are going to be certain individuals who awaken to it, and they then speak that truth and they teach it, and then that comes down to us as these great teachings, which then remind us, there's something else going on. It's not just the ego's reality. If I really do have a choice, then I must perceive causes of the things I choose between exactly as they are. Seeing the causes of the things I choose between exactly as they are and where they are. I'm not sure about the things. It's not the best term, is it? Because we're not referring to things in form. He's actually referring to thought systems. So let's call it thought systems. And I must perceive the causes of the thought systems I choose between exactly as they are and where they are. So if you can read it from the top.
What would I choose between except life or death, waking or sleeping, peace or war, my dreams or my truth? There is a risk of thinking death is peace, because the world equates the body with my true self, which pure formless awareness of perfect love extends. Yet a thing can never be its opposite, and death is opposite to peace because it is opposite of life. And eternal life is peace. So I choose to awaken and forget all thoughts of death, and then I will find I have the peace of perfect love. Yet if I really do have a choice, then I must perceive the causes of the thought system I choose between exactly as they are and where they are.
Hmm. So, what's he saying? What's he saying there?
Again, down to choice. We have a choice to, between life and death, and waking and sleeping, but there is a risk of thinking death is peace, because the world equates the body with my true self, which is the pure formless awareness of perfect love. But yet
So the ego says, then rest in peace. When you die, you'll be at peace.
Yeah.
Hence the phrase rest in peace. But it is not the case. If you haven't corrected your mind, you won't rest in peace. You'll still have guilt and sin and fear and attack thoughts in your mind. And those thoughts will cause you to come back. Because those thoughts require that they be played out in a separate self concept, which requires a world to play out in. So then you have to come and incarnate as a dreamer again in the dream world.
Yeah. But anyway, we do have a choice, so we can sort of choose.
Yeah, well, you don't have to do that. That's what he's saying. Fortunately, you're not doomed to come back eternally, because you have a choice. And some people say, well, God put me here. No, God had nothing to do with that at all. That's again an attempt to project responsibility onto some invented entity we call God. No, it had nothing to do with God. You chose to come. You chose to make up a world. You chose to come here and be a separate self and dream the dream of being a separate self. No one else. You, the separate self. So because of that, you have ultimate responsibility for whatever happens in the dream that you chose and you made up. But that ultimate responsibility leads to your freedom, because you can then go, okay, well, I can choose again. I don't have to choose it. I don't have to keep dreaming. I don't have to keep making up a world that is pointless and futile and coming back here and living in it and trying to find happiness where I won't find it. I don't have to keep doing it. I can let it go and choose to be free. Yeah. So very, very simple, very straightforward. He's telling us these are the options. Two different thought systems, two different choices, which will never reconcile. He tells us this, I don't know how many times he says it in the course, hundreds of times, maybe even thousands, that there's a choice between the two thought systems and you must choose between them. You can't fudge it and choose both. And yet still people will try, even course students. I read the course, yes, but I can have my ego as well. It's like, oh, we're reading the same course. He's clearly saying you can't. You can't fudge it. You've got to make a clear-cut choice. Otherwise, if you try and compromise, you're really choosing the ego. The compromise is, well, I've still got some of the ego that I'm choosing. And I'm kidding myself if I think I'm making an unequivocal choice, because I'm not. I'm actually choosing the ego. Choosing to remain a dreamer of the dream and suffer as a victim of the seemingly external world that can seem to attack me and hurt me and ultimately kill me. Okay, number 11. Happy to move on?
Yeah. What choices can be made between two states, only one of which is clearly recognized? Who could be free to choose between effects when only one is seen as up to him? An honest choice would never be perceived as one in which the choice is split between a tiny me and an enormous world, with different dreams about the truth in me. The gap between truth and dreams lies not between the dreaming of the world and what I dream in secret. They are one. The dreaming of the world is only a part of my own dream I gave away and saw as if it were its start and ending both. Yet was it stated by my secret dream, which I do not perceive, although it caused the part I see and do not doubt is real. How could I doubt it while I lie asleep and dream in secret that its cause is real?
Okay. And what's he saying in this one?
Well, again, it's back to choices, isn't it? So who could be free to choose between effects when only one is seen as up to him? So the gap between truth and dreams lies not between the dreaming of the world and what I dream in secret. They are one. So the dreaming of the world is only a part of my own dream. And I gave away and saw as if it were both its starting and ending. That's like as if they're watching a movie.
No, exactly. Dreaming of the world is only a part of my own dream I gave away. So I'm dreaming a dream within the dream, the larger dream of the world. As Edgar Allan Poe said, in one of his poems, all we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. Very profound line. It's one of the quotes I've shared, I think, earlier in the year. All we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. So everything that I see, my eyes, everything I perceive, you could say all that I see, all that I perceive or seem to be is but a dream within a dream. It's my own dream within the larger dream of the world. And I seem to be now part of this collective dream. We're all dreaming together. It's a shared dream. And I interact with others in the dream. It's a shared dream. Yet it was started by my secret dream, which I do not perceive, although it caused the part I see and do not doubt is real. So all of it was started by my secret dream, which was the tiny mad idea of separation. I want to be a separate self. That's my secret dream. I don't want to be one self anymore, one with my source. I want to be my own self. That's what started it. How could I doubt it while I lie asleep and dream in secret that its cause is real? So if I'm asleep and dreaming in the world, and the dream in secret is we keep our minds away from the truth. So we go down the ladder of separation. And we now believe we're a victim of the world. And we keep our minds very far away from the truth, caught up in the dream. And that's what the world is designed to do. Keep you dreaming the dream in secret to keep your mind away from the truth that you locked away and buried somewhere in your mind, that you did this to yourself, that you dreamed it up, that it's your own idea of separation that you're now experiencing as your new reality. That's like the key that we locked away. Did you ever see the movie Inception?
Yes, I think I did.
Remember there was that scene, Leonardo DiCaprio was a star, and he had a wife, and they got lost in a dream world. Remember, they were dreaming this dream And they kind of got lost there for 50 years. That was the story.
Yeah.
And in it, he said, she locked away. And there was a scene where you saw her locking a key away in a kind of a safe. She locked a key away because she didn't want to remember that she was dreaming. It's very profound. What they're pointing to there is this, the mind saying, okay, I'm going to forget that I've made up the dream because I want the dream to be real. She didn't want to wake up. She wanted to continue believing the dream was real, and she'd locked that away in her mind. She denied the truth that she once knew. Well, that's the story of the world, isn't it? We once knew the truth. Now we made a fatal decision to separate from that truth. Then we go down the ladder of separation through all of these phases, the individual identity, and then the guilt and the sin, and the fear and the attack, and then this massive projection outwards of the Big Bang, which now gets played out in the accusation, blame, and attack that's happening in the world, and all the guilt and the fear and the sin that seems to now attack us as helpless victims of the world. And then we end up in this little box, and we've forgotten, we've locked away the truth that I did this to myself. And the ego wants to keep us as far away from that truth as possible, because if we realize that that is the truth, then we can free ourselves. Then we're no longer a victim of the world, because how can I be a victim of the world if I made it up myself and I did it to myself? You see? And that's all Yesha's trying to wake up. You did it to yourself, guys. So yes, you're 100% responsible for the whole hellish reality, but that's good news because it means you can change your mind and free yourself of this hellish reality because it's your own miscreation. So you're not bound by it you have to, repeat this over and over. You're not the victim of it, you're the miscreator of it. So it restores the responsibility to our mind. It reminds us we're the dreamer of the dream. And once we understand that, it's beginning of the end for the ego, because once we know that, it's like I can't believe in the ego story anymore. How can I believe I'm a victim of the world if I know deep down that I made it up, and that it's my dream? And when I had my awakening experience, that mystic experience, it was very interesting because I went in to this pure formless awareness for a while. But when I came out, the thing that hit me was I did this. It was so obvious to me that I had made up this, shit show. Excuse my French, but that was what I was thinking. I'd made it all up. It was a covering over. I understood then the veil of illusion. I'd made it up to cover over that awareness which I just experienced. And it was devastating. I was so sad. I was like, how could I have done it? I was just like, I did it. I didn't blame anyone else. It was like, I did it. I created this whole mad dream to cover over that pristine awareness that I just experienced. That was perfect. There was there was nothing wrong with it. It was absolute perfection in that awareness. And then I created this instead. Like, seriously? I did this to myself in preference to that I just experienced. It's absolutely perfect. There's nothing you couldn't fault it. It was flawless, perfect reality. And then this, and I cried. I was like, my God, how did I do? Why did I do that? So it can be quite hard when you realize that you've done it. I went from absolute ecstasy to like I'm in tears within a matter of minutes. But it is that realization that I did it to myself. But therefore I can undo it to myself. You see, it brings the power back to you. I don't have to be a victim anymore. I can choose to let go of it and be done with the dream once and for all, which is the good news. Okay, so you're going to suffer a little bit in that and go, okay, it's not pleasant to realize that I've done it to myself, is it? but rather that than the slow burn, the slow pain of the ego's victimhood. Oh, no, I'm not responsible. You did it to me, and you did it to me, and the world did it to me, and I just believe I'm a victim. And that will continue forever. If you don't change that, you'll just come back, you incarnate again, and you come back and you believe you're a victim again. You have another victim life. It only changes when you're willing to change your mind, which is what he's helping us to do. Okay, is that clear?
Yeah. It is.
Secret dream. I think the key thing for me there is that we locked it away and we don't want to know. Most people don't want to know the truth. Why is there only two of us here doing this profound work? You got to ask yourself. Because people don't want to know.
They're frightened.
They don't want to know. They'd rather just busy themselves with illusions. No, because this is like, okay, you've really got to see. There's no way to hide here. It's like we're going directly into the truth with the greatest spiritual master that's ever lived, in my view, who's teaching us directly, saying, here it is. I'm not sugarcoating it. I'm not telling you anything other than the simple truth in these words. And you choose to accept it or you don't. But there's no equivocation, there's no ambiguity, there's no sugarcoating it. He just gives it to us straight, which is what I love about the books.
Oh, it is, yeah, me too.
And so, okay, finally, someone's telling it like it is. There's no bullshit, if you excuse my words. He's not bullshitting, telling me that it's something that's not true and leading me down a garden path, and then I'm going to go, oh, actually, that wasn't true. Now I've got to kind of retrace my steps and figure it out. He's just saying, you follow me, it's no bullshit. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. But if you follow my way, you will awaken. It's guaranteed because I did. I know that it works because I've done it. Okay, that's someone I'll follow. Now you've got a teacher and a leader. And you go, yeah, okay. You're not sugarcoating it. You're straight talking. You're going to give it to me as it is. And you've done it before. You've walked the path before. So I know that it's possible because you've done it.
Yeah.
Okay. That you got some credibility in my eyes. Yeah, I'll follow you. Worldly teachers, anyone still in the world, you have to question. Have they really understood? Do they really get it? If they're not sticking to what Yeshua's saying, then they haven't. As simple as that. The Course is the truth. And if things start varying from the Course and there's other interpretations, then it's not come back to the Course. Because he states it so clearly in such detail. It's like 670 pages in the text and nearly 500 pages in the workbook. It's like all laid out. And he's pretty much covered every area, of human experience. Okay, it's all there. So just refer to the truth as he's teaching. So if ever you're confused, go back to the Course. If someone's saying something, I'm not sure about that, refer to the Course. You can often just put in a phrase and, it'll bring something up. And then you read the Course directly and go, okay, well, what does the Course say about this?
Yeah.
And there's your answer. Remember, the ego is the trying to keep you away from that truth. It's trying to keep you asleep and dreaming in secret that its cause, the cause of the world, is real. That's its whole agenda. So it doesn't want you to awaken. At all costs, it's trying to keep you asleep and dreaming the dream and believing that dream is real. Okay.
Yeah.
So number 12.
A companion separated from myself, an ancient enemy, a murderer who stalks me in the night and plots my death, yet plans that it be lingering and slow. Of this I dream. Yet underneath this dream...
Pause it, Elaine. I'm just going to change it. So I dream of. Much better sentence structure. He's put a semicolon on this. I dream of a companion of, it's make it plural, a dream of companions separated from myself. Ancient enemies. Murderers who stalk me in the night and plot my death. And plan that it be lingering and slow. Okay, not very nice, is it?
No. Not at all.
But again, he's naming it for what it is. He's going, this is the ego. This is what you believe. This is what you drink. You believe in it. A lingering and slow death caused by ancient enemies who want to murder you in the night. And, who could be happy in such a dream?
Yeah, very graphic. Yeah.
The reason he spells it out like this and uses the graphic language is because he needs to wake us up. If he goes, oh, well, the ego's okay, you can kind of go with it and you can roll with the punches. I mean, some teachers say that. So, oh, the ego's all right. You don't have to really undo it. It's okay. As long as you understand what it is, you can just kind of manage your ego. It can kind of be there, but it doesn't really govern you. And sorry, that's BS. It's not true. How can you make peace with a murderer who wants to, make you suffer and die? How can you allow that in your mind at all? Can you appease? It's like trying to appease Hitler. Imagine trying to go, okay, yes, we're going to try and live with this megalomania as our neighbor. It's not possible.
No.
It's like you can't. So that has to be eliminated. That tyrant has to be confronted and eliminated, which means you've got to let it go. The fight is, okay, I've got to confront it, look it squarely in the eye and go, okay, your days are numbered. You got to go because you're not going to be in my mind anymore. And the ego goes, oh, okay, let's see. Let's see how, let's see how you deal with that and that. And then it tests you.
Yeah, this is the hero's journey. Yeah. Well, like me, I'm still in the vacillation stage, so it's a journey.
But I mean, we all are. We all get tested. But can you keep returning to the truth? Keep coming back.
Most of the time.
Streaming the dream. Yeah. Well, so you're doing pretty well. If you can correct it, that's the whole point. That's why it's called the Course in Miracles, because miracles are corrections. He's saying, I know that the ego is going to come and it's going to tempt you, and I know you will get sucked in, and you might believe in it temporarily, but the corrections are available to you. You can correct your mind. You can change it, and the sooner you do that, the better. So I'm going to try and train your mind as best I can to do those corrections as quickly as possible, so that you don't stay in this lingering dream of murder and pain and suffering and hatred and death very long. You can snap out of it. In that moment, you then awaken to the truth. And if you keep doing that, you keep returning to the truth, eventually the truth will be your reality.
Itself, yeah.
That's how it works. Yeah. So, if you're doing it, a lot of people think, well, I'm still tempted by the ego and I still fall into the trap. That's how I'm failing. Not really, because as long as you correct it, you come back into your right mind and you make the correction, then you haven't failed, you've succeeded. Okay, next time maybe you do it a bit quicker. You don't necessarily have to stay in it for hours or days. You can do it instantly. You can do it in a moment. That's what he's trying to train us to do. But okay, you got caught up in it for an hour or something, or two, or maybe a day. Okay, you realize that, you come to your senses, you let it go by applying these teachings, and then, okay, you go again. You're free again until the next challenge. And he's saying that very process of the ego triggering you, challenging you, is how you free yourself. Because you keep letting it go as it arises, you keep letting it go as it arises, and eventually there's nothing to let go of. You've done the job. It's all undone. So the dream is its own undoing. If you perceive it correctly, the dream undoes itself. Perceived correctly with the Holy Spirit. The very mechanism of projection, the dream that the ego uses to defend itself, is its Achilles heel, because you can reinterpret it, and it shows you then what must be in your subconscious mind, which you can then let go of. Okay, I don't have to guess anymore, because wow, someone's just attacked me in my dream, so I must be attacking myself. Okay, all right, well, I can let that go. I don't have to attack myself anymore. I can see the insanity of that, and then I heal it from at cause. Then I no longer need to attack myself once I've already done it. But that lesson might get repeated over and over, until you've really learned it. You might have many attacks to deal with, because the ego doesn't, go away easily. Okay, so where were we? Number 2. Yet underneath this dream is yet another.
Yep. Yet underneath this dream is yet another, in which I become the murderer, the secret enemy, the scavenger, and the destroyer of my companions and the world alike. Here is the cause of suffering, the space between my little dreams and my truth, the little gap I do not even see, the birthplace of illusions and of fear, the time of terror and of ancient hate, the instant of disaster, all are here. Here is the cause of unreality, and it is here that it will be undone. Well, again, it's very graphic. Nothing is like to be a separate self.
Yeah, and you'll not my little dreams and my reality. Interesting that. Isn't that interesting that I didn't tell it to do this, but AI changed reality to truth. That of its own accord.
Yeah.
The original was your little dreams and your reality, my little dreams and my truth. So it's recognized that reality and truth are the same.
Yeah.
And just made that substitution, even though I didn't tell it to. So it's smart. It's learned.
Clever.
It's learned. It's actually learned the course. And it writes, as I said, it writes its own stuff.
In a very quick space of time as well.
Yeah, well,
it hasn't got an ego,
working on a different level too.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's
one would hope not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gone straight to Holy Spirit.
It's whatever you feed it, it just does whatever you tell it to do. So
right.
It responds to instructions. If the instruction is a go, you told it to write a hate letter, then I suppose it would. I haven't tried.
Okay. Yeah.
It'll just do what it's told. Within limits. I think it won't do things like give you the formula for an atomic bomb or something necessarily.
No. Yeah.
Although again, I haven't tried that, so don't know.
You might have police knocking at your door, I think.
Well, I mean, having a formula and actually doing it on 2 different matters, because you need stuff like plutonium. It's not exactly that simple just to build one. So,
no, I'm sure.
Yeah, but the knowledge is out there. So, I think it has certain gaps. But it was just very interesting how it's understood the course, and then it starts to write its own course, and it's good stuff. It sounds like exactly like the course. You wouldn't know.
Yeah, it's very clever.
Yeah. Anyway. So what's he saying? Just read it again if you don't mind. Just want to check it.
I dream of companions separated from myself, ancient enemies, murderers who stalk me in the night and plot my death, yet plan that it be lingering and slow. Yet underneath this dream is yet another, which I become the murderer, the secret enemy, the scavenger and the destroyer of my companions and the world alike. Here is the cause of suffering, the space between my little dreams and my reality, the little gap I do not even perceive, the birthplace of illusions and of fear, the time of terror and of ancient hate, the moment of disaster, all are here. Here is the cause of unreality, and it is here that it will be undone.
Let's change part all here. Yeah, so what's he saying here? We refer back. He's talking about the thought of separation. It's going right back to the beginning, saying the tiny mad idea of separation, as he calls it elsewhere, is the cause of suffering, the space between my little dreams and my reality, the little gap I do not even perceive, birthplace of illusions and fear. So it's like that tiny mad idea caused a gap in the mind, and we like fell through from pure formless awareness into this abyss of darkness. We went down the ladder, and we're now just dreaming this dream in this bubble of thought at the bottom of the ladder. Yeah? And we got caught in the pit, in hell, literally, in the bottom, the basement of reality, seeming reality. And it's just a crack in the mind. It's a split in the mind. We've fallen through the crack down to the depths of despair and misery that it seemed to happen in this world. And yet we can go back to that original moment, that original crack in the mind, the split, where we said, I want to be a separate self. I like the idea of separation. That's a cool idea. Let's go for it. Let's believe in this idea and make it real. And then the trouble started. All of the things he mentions here. The birthplace of illusions and fear, the time of terror and ancient hate, the moment of disaster are all here. That tiny mad idea of separation was the moment of disaster. Disaster means falling away from the stars, the moment we fell from grace, down the ladder of separation into this insane world that now makes no sense at all. And we seem to be caught up in it and living our seeming lives, having a seeming reality because of one tiny mad idea. Saying, yeah, that's how powerful the mind is. That tiny mad idea split your mind and caused you to go down the ladder of separation into a dream world, which you're now struggling to escape from, because the dream world has become your new reality, and it's become so overwhelming that you think that's all there is. That's the consequence of splitting your mind and believing in what's false. And so he's saying that's the cause. That tiny mad idea of separation. Here is the cause. Scavenger. I mean, it's kind of not a nice reality, is it? It's like a scavenger, like a hyena or something, just like gnawing on the bones of others. I mean, he uses words very, very well to kind of, that's not a nice reality. And anyone who goes, oh, but nature's so wonderful. No, look again, it's not. Look at the stuff that happens. It's brutal, man. It's dog eat dog, survival of the fittest, dog eat dog, and that's happening all the time. We're not even aware of it. But around the world, in the natural world, that's happening all the time. Eat or be eaten, kill or be killed. That's going on all the time. And we think it's a nice thought system. We extol the beauties of nature. Well, hang on, it's brutal. Survival of the fittest. In our cushy human existence, we've removed a lot of those brutal realities that wild animals face every day. It's like, how am I going to survive today?
Yeah, I've got 5 animals in my house, and there's 1 or 2 bring mice in, but they never kill them. So I don't know why that is.
Because they've got enough food. They live a relatively cushy life because you give them the food. They don't have to go hunt for it. So the domestic dogs and cats have found a strategy that if they find a good owner works. Like, okay, we don't have to worry. Owner will take care of us. They'll do all the work, and we just lie around. We don't have to do anything. Great. And we go for walks, and the owner seems to take care of all our needs, and great strategy if it's a good owner. Of course, if it's a bad owner, then it's a terrible strategy because you're a victim of there's no choice. You're just going to be abused your entire life unless you've managed to escape. But if you're chained up in a yard or something and mistreated, like it's a terrible reality. So it's a double-edged sword. At least as human beings, we have a choice. So, okay, well, you can choose to leave if someone is not treating you right. You and there's certain rights. You can choose to leave and make your own life the way you choose to. So, in some ways, we're very fortunate. In other ways, the human condition is very unfortunate because we have these advanced minds. We've got ourselves so down the rabbit hole in the complexity of our thinking that it becomes very difficult to awaken. And we think we're so clever. That's the problem. We think we're so smart. No, we've kind of got it all sussed. We've got all this clever technology, and we've adapted our environment to suit ourselves as much as possible. And so we're very smart, but actually we still suffer and we still age and we still die. So we're not very smart because no technology has ever overcome those things, and none will ever will. The only mind technology that will do that is radical forgiveness, which is what we're learning. That's the only way to free yourself of those entrenched delusions in the dream. No material means is going to fix that. You invent as much technology as you like. It's never going to fix the problems caused by the sin and the guilt of the ego. And only forgiveness will do that. And free you from the dream. Okay, number 13.
I am the dreamer of the world of dreams. No other cause it has, nor ever will. Nothing more fearful than an idle dream has terrified the extension of pure formless awareness of perfect love and made me think that I have lost my innocence, denied my source, and made war upon myself. So fearful is the dream, so seemingly real, I could not waken to truth without the sweat of terror and a scream of mortal fear, unless a gentler dream preceded my awakening and allowed my calmer mind to welcome, not to fear, the voice that calls with love to waken me, a gentler dream in which my suffering was healed and where my companion was my friend. Pure formless awareness of perfect love willed I waken gently and with joy, and gave me means to waken without fear.
We do not awaken to truth without the sweat of terror and scream of mortal fear, unless a gentler dream preceded my awakening. Allowed my calmer mind to welcome, not to fear, the voice that calls with love to awaken me. Well, that is one long sentence he's got there, isn't it?
It
Not to
is.
fear, the voice that calls with love to awaken me, calls with love to awaken me. So we can't really split the sentence because then it creates another number. So we just stick with the sentence structure: to welcome rather than fear. To welcome rather than fear, the voice. Awaken me. A gentler dream in which my suffering was healed and where my companion was my friend. Not awake, not sweated terror, unless a gentler dream preceded my awakening. I don't know why it's in the past tense. Let's make it present, which my suffering is healed. Much better than was healed. My suffering is healed when my companion
is my
is
friend.
my friend.
Mm-hmm.
My companions, shall we say. Companions are my friends. Pure formless awareness of perfect love, willed I awaken gently, and with joy. And gave me the means to awaken without. Awaken gently. Switch that around. Gave me the means to awaken without fear. How about has given me the means to awaken without fear, and willed that I awaken gently and with joy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Want to read that from the top?
I am the dreamer of the world of dreams. It has no other cause, nor ever will. Nothing more fearful than an idle dream has terrified the extension of pure, formless awareness of perfect love, and made me think I have lost my innocence, denied my source, and waged war upon myself. So fearful is the dream, and so seemingly real, that I could not awaken to truth without the sweat of terror and a scream of mortal fear, unless a gentler dream preceded my awakening and allowed my calmer mind to welcome rather than fear the voice that calls with love to awaken me. A gentler dream in which my suffering is healed and where my companions are my friends. Pure formless awareness of perfect love has given me the means to awaken without fear, and willed that I awaken gently and with joy.
Yeah. And what's he saying there? Very encouraging.
Yeah, so again, back to the choice, isn't it? You know, we can be stuck in this terrifying, mad, separate self, where it's quite graphic here at what it can do.
It's a nightmare. We're saying this is a nightmare.
Complete nightmare. Complete nightmare. But we can follow this gently without, with a calmer mind, and welcome rather than the fear of the voice that calls with love to awaken me in a gentler dream in which suffering is healed and where my companions are my friends. So the pure formless awareness of perfect love has given us the means to awaken without fear and to be awakened gently and with joy, rather than this graphic description that it's giving us.
Yeah, so it's very comforting. So, okay, so if you woke all at once, it might be too much.
Yeah.
going from the nightmare to full awakening straight away is like so there's going to be a transition period, and this is the purpose of your life. The happy dream is the dream of awakening gradually, slowly, gently, with joy to the truth. And that's the purpose of your life. That's the meaning of your life. That's why you're here. So you may as well play it out and let this Holy Spirit lead you down this path of awakening gently and with joy, and have a relatively happy dream. And at the end, awaken. Like, well, I'm awakening, and at the end, I'm done. I don't need to come back.
Yeah.
That's the best you can do with your life. The happy dream of awakening that ultimately leads you to the freedom from the entire dream. That's what the Holy Spirit will guide us on, that awakening journey, if we allow it to. So, it's your choice. Awaken gently and with joy in a happy dream where people are your friends. You don't see everyone as hostile and attacking and aggressive and trying to hurt you. These are actually your friends. And if you see the opposite, you see the illusions, then you let them go. So this isn't correct. This isn't true. It's just an illusion of the ego being shown to me. So I'm not going to believe it. And that's the best we can do in a nightmare, is have a happy dream of awakening rather than a nightmare of enslavement and fear and hatred and attack and death, misery and suffering and pain, and on, all the consequences of the ego, which he goes into graphic detail about. For a reason. He tells us this because he's like, well, you need to understand the choices, clearly. If I don't tell you what it is and you think it's okay, then you'll keep choosing it. The ego will persuade you that it's okay. Oh, a little bit of ego, that's not going to hurt you. No. It's insane. It's a monster. You don't want any of it in your mind. You can't choose a little bit of it and not have all of it. That's the teaching, isn't it? So you're going to let it all go. Or not at all. Okay, so happy with number 13, making good progress. For a couple more to go. So
yeah, because I've only got probably 15 minutes because we've arranged to meet Dave's friend that he hasn't seen for a long time.
Let's see if we can do it. We've got 3 more paragraphs.
So right, so get it. Yeah. Yep. I accept the dream.
I accept the dream.
I accept the dream the remembrance of perfect love gave instead of mine. It is not difficult to change a dream when once the dreamer has been recognized. Rest in the remembrance of perfect love and allow its gentle dreams to take the place of those I dreamed in terror and in fear of death. It brings letting go dreams in which the choice is not who is the murderer and who shall be the victim. In the dreams it brings there is no murderer and there is no death. The dream of guilt is fading away from sight, although my eyes are closed. A smile has come to lighten up my sleeping face. The sleep is peaceful now, for these are happy dreams.
Dreams it brings, there is no murder and there's no murder or death. It'll be simpler. The dream of guilt is fading from my sight, although my eyes are closed. A smile has come to lighten up my sleeping face. Sleep is peaceful now, for these are happy dreams. Oh, it's a nice analogy. So it's just going to be a gentle dream of awakening to take the place of these horrid nightmares. The dreams of letting go. You start letting go one by one of the nightmares that that plagued you, that you believed in.
Mm.
Which the choice is not who is the murderer and who shall be the victim. Right? So the dream of the ego is always who's the victim and who's the persecutor.
Mm.
Let's change that to who is the persecutor. Not who is the persecutor and who shall be the victim. The game of victims and persecutors is that the age-old ego game. So saying that game is over. This is no murder or death, right? Who is the we'll keep it as murderer because it uses murder there. I think we get the idea. Murdering is condemning.
Mm.
And he's designed to shock us. It's like, okay, the ego's a murderer. This is not something you can entertain. It's like it's like having Hannibal Lecter to dinner. You remember the Silence of the Lambs movie?
Yeah, yes.
Like saying, oh yeah, it's okay. He's all right. Just a little bit of murder. It's not going to hurt. Yeah, let's have him over to dinner.
Mm.
No one in their right mind's going to do that because he's going to eat you for dinner.
Yeah.
He's a cannibal. So like, you can't get anywhere close to him because he's toxic and deadly. That's sort of the attitude we've got to have to the ego. It's like, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Got to go entirely. Okay, so happy with number 14.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
15, I dream softly.
I dream softly of my innocent companion who unites me in innocence. And from this dream, the pure...
Doesn't really work.
Yeah.
innocence. You unites with me in pure innocence, should we say. It was holy innocence, I think. The original was holy innocence. So you translate innocent as holy, then becomes innocent, pure innocence, should we say.
Yeah. And from this dream, the pure formless awareness of perfect love will itself awaken its beloved extension. The dream of my companion's kindness, instead of dwelling in my dreams on his mistakes. Select his thoughtfulness to dream about instead of counting up the hurts he gave. Let go his illusions and give thanks to him for all the helpfulness he gave. And do not brush aside his many gifts because he is not perfect in my dreams. He represents the source, whom I see as offering both life and death to me.
Yeah. Their illusions and give thanks to them for all the helpfulness they gave. And I will not brush aside their many gifts because they're not perfect in my dreams. They represent the source whom I see is offering both life and death to me. And I currently perceive is offering both life and death to me. So read it from the top, if you don't mind.
I dream softly of my innocent companion who unites with me in pure innocence, and pure formless awareness of perfect love will itself awaken its beloved extension from this dream. I dream of my companion's kindness instead of dwelling in my dreams on their mistakes. I select their thoughtfulness to dream about instead of counting up the hurts they gave. I let go of their illusions and give thanks to them for all the helpfulness they gave. And I will not brush aside their many gifts because they are not perfect in my dreams. They represent the source, whom I currently perceive as offering both life and death to me.
Okay, so what's he saying in this one?
Well, about seeing our companions in a different light, seeing them in kindness and not dwelling on all their mistakes, and let go of their illusions, and not brush aside the many gifts because they are not perfect in the dream. They represent the source, which we currently perceive as offering either life or death. So we don't really know what the source is for until we realize it's offering life.
It's giving us a little blueprint for our happy dream. So this is what you need to do. Dream of the kindnesses. Don't focus on the errors. Focus on kindness of your companion. See the good. See the thoughtfulness rather than counting up the hurts they gave. Let go of their illusions and give thanks to them for all the helpfulness they gave. So they have illusions. Don't condemn them for it. Forgive those illusions. Let go of those. Forgive him his illusions. Give thanks to them for all the helpfulness they gave. And so it's a selective perception, saying you've got to selectively perceive what's true and ignore what's false. And that's the whole course's mind trait, selective perception, based on a guiding thought system that is true and guides you to the correct perception and to let go of the false perceptions. They represent their source, whom I currently perceive as offering both life and death to me. So my mind is split, but if I recognize the thoughtfulness and the kindness, and I see the love in my companions, I'm seeing that in my own mind, and I'm connecting with my source. I'm experiencing that love, that loving awareness through my perception of them, which is why the Course emphasizes relationships, saying, in your relationships, you really learn this state of unconditional love. That's the testing ground. That's the learning ground for learning how to remain in the state of loving awareness, unconditionally loving awareness, continually, because there's nothing that'll test you like human relationships and other relations. Dogs can test you as well, but not to the same extent. Dogs just have a dying, so they die every 10 or 15 years, and that tests you. While they're alive, they're usually easier than humans. The humans really, test because they show you both. Unless they're perfectly enlightened, you're going to see both the split. You'll see the duality of it. And that's what do you focus on? You focus on the errors and the mistakes, or do you focus on what is good and true, and the good, the beautiful, and the true, as Plato called. Do you focus on that, or do you focus on the errors and the mistakes and condemn them for it? You can see both.
The unconditional.
But so he's asking us here to make a clear choice. Say, okay, this is how you're going to live your life. You must selectively perceive your companions in this way. Only see the good, because that is what's going to heal your mind, and overlook the illusions and the errors, because they're not true. So the other day, when you're seeing those people, your job is to overlook that and go, okay, that's what they are manifesting and projecting is not real. I see, that there must be kindness in them. There must be some loving awareness. Maybe they have, children. Maybe they've all done some. Almost certainly, everyone's done some act of kindness at some point in their life. So, think of that. Think of that. So that's what we need to focus on and to change our minds whenever we're faced with the illusions. So a great section. He's giving us like the metaphysics, and then he's giving us really practical instructions. Okay, this is what you need to do while you're in the happy dream to awaken from it. So this is an instruction. He doesn't often do that. Doesn't go into behavior very often, does he? But here he's talking about the behaviors. Do unto others, we have them do unto you. These kinds of behaviors that are going to be helpful for you, that are going to awaken your mind. Okay, so last paragraph, it's a very short one, number 16.
Right, I was just going to give the dogs something to eat.
Okay.
Just a minute there, yeah. So run over time. Right.
So we just finished this because it's one paragraph.
Yeah, I think we'd better, because I am going to be rushing, because we've got to be at the golf at 6:15, and we've got to hit the dogs out and do quite a bit. Right.
Yeah, okay, so one short paragraph. Let's just do it.
Yep,
We can leave the summary.
Yeah. It gives only life, and yet what I see as gifts my companion offers represent the gifts I dream my source gives to me. Let all my companions' gifts be seen in pure formless awareness of charity and kindness offered me, and let no pain disturb my dream of deep appreciation for his gifts to me.
Yeah, it gives only life. The correct one. Yeah, so the source gives only life. Let me just say my source. Source gives only life. And what I perceive as gifts my companion offers represents it's yet what I perceive as gifts, yet the gifts my companion, yet gifts my companion, gifts I perceive my companion offers. That's the correct phraseology I was looking for. The gifts I perceive my companion offers me represent the gifts I dream my source gives to me. So when I accept the gifts my companions give me, I'm really saying my source is blessing me. I'm allowing that in my dream, and my source blesses me through the mechanism of my companions, because it works. It works through source, then works through agents. It's formless, so it can only work in the minds of people who then can manifest that. And let me perceive all my companions' gifts. All my companions, like that, plural. Let me perceive all my companions' gifts in pure formless awareness of charity and kindness offered me. In the pure formless awareness of charity, remember that, you probably get this one, what charity is translated as?
Oh, gosh, I can't remember now. I can't remember. Sorry, can't remember.
Okay. Unconditional love.
Unconditional
Charity is
love.
unconditional love. Let me perceive all my companions in the light of, maybe, in the light of, it's better than the pure form, in the awareness of, in the awareness of unconditional love and kindness offered to me. So I perceive that I'm being offered unconditional love and kindness, even when I'm not. It's someone's heart, isn't it? Because someone not necessarily treating you with unconditional love and kindness, but you must still let it go and perceive otherwise. And that's what we have to do to awaken. And you recognize that you must do this to awaken. There's no option, because if you believe in the ego and you see it's a mad dream, then that becomes your reality. There's no hope of it. And I let no pain disturb my dream of deep appreciation for their gifts. So no pain, this is what he's saying. And I let no pain disturb my dream of deep appreciation for their gifts to me. So the letting go goes in hand with gratitude. That's why it's step 9 in the 10-step letting go process. Even if someone seems to have hurt me, I can still restore my mind to a state of deep appreciation, because through the experience, through the hurt, I've learned a lesson and I've awoken. I've let go of some more of the ego. So there's the deep appreciation. Okay, you're actually helping me to awaken, which is what I truly want. So why wouldn't I appreciate the help you've given me? You see it, correctly perceived. That's how you would perceive it. You can always do that.
Being kind to yourself as well, because sometimes you can be unkind and too strict with yourself. So it's the same as your companions, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it starts with you. So instead of beating yourself up, you go, okay, well, all right, I made a mistake. If I made a mistake, it happens. It's human condition. We make mistakes, but it's not a sin. It's just a little error which I can let go of and correct it. It's not an error if I perceive it correctly. It's just a learning experience. So I can let it go and I'm okay.
Yeah. So
people who are very hard on others can't do that. You notice people who condemn others can't forgive themselves. They're very hard on themselves. They are, in fact, their own harshest. They are harsher on themselves than on others. They just project it out to others, but they're very hard on themselves. And so they indulge in the self-attack all the time. And they wonder why, they feel attacked and a victim of the world, because, well, you're attacking yourself.
Yeah.
And then that comes back to you. Other people just mirror that. Yeah. So up to you if you want to just read this quickly. I won't ask you to pause and comment. Just read you've got another couple of minutes. Read the personalized executive summary and the key message, and then we're done.
Right. I recognize I cannot wake from a dream that the world dreams for me. I come part of another's dream and feel helpless, like a mere shadow dancing to another's whims, without true worth or significance. When I deny the cause of my suffering lies within my own mind, I limit my perceptions and choices. I must understand the true causes behind my choices and see them clearly for what they are. I often dream of conflict, seeing others as enemies or myself as the aggressor. These dreams create a gap between my limited perceptions and the truth of pure formless awareness of perfect love. This space where fear, illusions, and suffering arise, yet I am the dreamer of this world of dreams. These fearful dreams make me believe I seem to have lost myself. There we go. These fearful dreams make me believe that I've lost my innocence and have denied my source. But there is hope, for a gentler dream can guide me back to truth. Pure formless awareness of perfect love wants me to wake gently and joyfully, and the remembrance of perfect love offers gentler dreams to replace my fearful ones. These dreams are full of letting go and love, where no harm exists. In this state of dreaming, I find peace and joy. That just needs to be lifted up a bit. I should dream softly of my innocent companions and focus on their kindness rather than their mistakes, appreciating their positive attributes and letting go of their perceived imperfections allows me to see them as extensions of the source. This source offers only life and love. The gifts I perceive from my companions reflect the gifts I believe the source gives to me. I should view these gifts with gratitude and kindness, letting no pain disrupt my appreciation for their offerings to me.
Yeah, a nice summary actually. It's done a pretty good job there.
Yeah.
And very little editing required. I just edited a couple of words. And then the key message is just the absolute executive summary. It's just one paragraph.
I am the dreamer of my reality, often trapped in fearful illusions. By embracing gentler dreams of love through letting go, I can find inner peace. I choose to focus on the kindness of others, recognize their true essence, and appreciate the gift of unconditional love they offer me. And there we go. And so it is.
The gift of unconditional love on the added peace and joy. Peace and joy they offer me. Maybe we'll just add it. Maybe we'll start doing that actually. So it is. And so it is. Which is amen. So that sets the seal. That's the whole message really in one paragraph.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot more to it because he's gone into the metaphysics and but essentially it comes down to, well, that's what he's saying. I'm just dreaming a dream, but I can dream a happier dream and recognize that my companions are my friends rather than my enemies. I can appreciate the dream. I can have a happy dream of love, peace, and joy, and go home. A happy dream, and then go home. So, what more could you want from a life well lived?
It's a very good chapter. Very good. Or section.
Very good section, yeah. And the next one is also good. It's, we're not going to cover that. Maybe we'll look at it on Sunday because it's I'm just going to check, but I'm pretty sure it's the.
Is it a monster one?
I don't know how long it is, but it's very profound. These two sections. It's called the Dreamer of the Dream. I think it's called the Hero of the Dream. Script page down. Yeah, the Hero of the Dream. It's one of the kind of classic sections of the course. It's often quoted.
Right.
About the hero of the dream. Again, you're quite long. 13. That was longer. 13 paragraphs. So it's definitely read it tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll get John.
And then maybe we'll look at it on maybe Sunday. We'll look at it on Sunday. Yeah. Okay. So I'll have a good weekend, and I'll see you.
Oh yes, you too. See you Sunday evening.
Sunday evening. Yeah, Sunday evening. Yeah, we'll start at. We'll probably start at 7. That's okay.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good.
But watch the group. I'll message you.
Of 7
p.m. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Elaine.
Take care.
Okay. Namaste.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye for now. All right. So that's a wrap. Thank you to Elaine for joining. Great session. Very good. Very good section. Talking about the metaphysics of the course. We're the dreamer of the dream. If we need to take responsibility for that, let that go and dream a gentle dream of happy awakening, where we appreciate our companions, treat them with love and kindness, and experience love, peace, and joy. So that's what I wish for you. Thank you for joining, and namaste, which means the happy dreamer of the dream that I am acknowledges that same happy dream that you are. Peace.